Brett Hull's 2 goals in St. Louis on Thursday were too much for the Leafs, who lost the game and the series. Last night, Mike Gardner's hat trick sent the Rangers to victory and the Islanders out of the playoffs. Now it's down to a 14-team tournament. The Sabres and Canadiens are still in it, although the Canadiens, who got 2 goals from Stéphane Richer last night, have the upper hand, leading 3-2 after a 4-2 win. The penalty boxes were full all night in Boston. Cam Neely gave the Bruins a 3-2 win over Hartford and a 1-game lead. Washington's Dino Ciccarelli has 8 goals in 5 playoff games. Number 8, part of a win over New Jersey that has the Caps in front of that series 3-2. Tonight, we return to the Campbell Conference. The Jets and Oilers in Game 6 of the Slant Division semifinal.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
Here's a chance for Richer. In front, score! Going in there, he centered it, Olczyk scores! Olczyk! Messier with a great speed! Messier scores! Cleveland got through there, he's right in! Oh, coming in, side of the net, center, Murray! Power play goal, just like that!
This series has been so close, overtime has been common. Game 2 took more than regulation time to decide. Mark Lamb gave the Oilers the win in overtime. Game 4 required more than 4 periods. Early in the second overtime, Dave Ellett rendered the decision in Winnipeg's favor. Overtime seemed entirely possible in Game 5. The Oilers clung to a 1-goal lead and a goal by Mark Messier. Bill Ranford had to make sure the goal would stand up as the winner with this heart-stopping save on Dale Hawerchuk in the final seconds of regulation time. That save sends the series to Winnipeg for Game 6 tonight on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
Brought to you by Molson Exports. Nothing halfway about it. X says it all. By Ford of Canada, where quality is more than a commitment. Quality is job one. By Esso, going that extra mile. And by Pepsi, it's got what it takes.
Once again tonight, the Winnipeg Arena is a sea of white in anticipation of the Jets altering their playoff history with the Oilers and taking their first ever Stanley Cup Series from Edmonton. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Winnipeg Arena and to Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. The Jets' promotion of wearing white has really caught on here at the Winnipeg Arena. And now for the Jets' last 3 home games in this series, this building has been full of fans wearing white and setting record noise levels. It is hard to imagine any building in the NHL more lively than this one is tonight and has been for the previous 2 home games. In much the same way, it's hard to imagine the hockey in any of the other series being more exciting than what we have seen in this one. It has been fast, it's been physical, the goaltending's been outstanding. The first 5 games could well have been decided by a coin flip. As it is, the Jets lead the series 3-2 with some pressure tonight, because if the Oilers win, they'll head back to Northlands Coliseum for Game 7 on Monday with decided momentum. But this is Game 6, and for it, we welcome to Winnipeg Ron McLean.
Thank you, Scott. Based on everything you've said, obviously this is a place to be here this evening. We had some very special guests arrive at the Winnipeg Arena for this Game 6 between the Oilers and the Jets. Oh, what's going on? Look at this. We have other guests who arrived.
Yeah, I'll get to the end of the first.
Now, you stay here, Benny. We'd like to make sanity of this. Don Cherry, of course, is here to provide analysis of this series. Who do you have with you?
Well, it looks like Barry Shankro's here right now. It's Barry Shankro.
If it was Barry Shankro, you'd really like him, because obviously you have the same tailor.
Oh, yeah, white guy, eh?
What about the Oilers and the Jets?
Well, I'll tell you, the way we figure it right now is Winnipeg's playing at its absolute best right now. Hawerchuk is dynamite. Edmonton can play better. They're not hitting on all cylinders right now, and they can play better. And I'll tell you one thing tonight right now. Winnipeg's got to win tonight, because if they don't win tonight, they're not winning in Edmonton.
But Bob Murdoch says, Don, that his club should be relaxed because every day is really a bonus. Nobody expected the club at the outset to make the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now they're here and are poised with home ice advantage.
Well, he's just saying that to make the guys feel good. That's all he's doing, and that's a smart ploy. But I'll tell you something, how important this game is tonight. They win this game tonight, they could be in the Stanley Cup Finals very easily because they've won both series with Edmonton and Calgary. So this should be a dandy tonight. This is the best series in playoffs playing now.
In the broadcast booth to provide the accounts of this evening's game, Don Whitman and John Garrett. Coming up next, we'll bring you Game 6 from the arena in Winnipeg when Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC and the Stanley Cup Playoffs returns in just a moment.
Game 6 of the series between the Jets and the Oilers. Here is how the two Smythe Division semifinals reached this stage. In Edmonton 10 days ago, the Oilers took the lead in Game 1, but the Jets came back to win it on a goal by Fred Ashton. With a 7-5 victory, the Jets had stripped the Oilers of home ice advantage on opening night. Oiler goaltender Bill Ranford wore the horns for that loss, but in Game 2 was strong enough to get the Oilers to overtime, where Mark Lamb got the winner, and the series was tied. In Winnipeg for Game 3 last Sunday, the Oilers once again took the lead, but in the final period, the most prolific goal scorer in the Jets NHL history, Dale Hawerchuk, completed a Winnipeg comeback that gave the Jets the series lead. The Sea of White was out in full force once again for Game 4 on Tuesday. It became delirious when the Jets claimed victory early in the second overtime period on a goal by Dave Ellett. The Jets had the Oilers on the run, leading the series 3-1. Facing elimination on Thursday in front of their own fans, the Oilers' big guns fired. Mark Messier got the winner in a 4-3 final to send the series back to Winnipeg for this game. The Kings-Flames series has followed the same pattern as this one. And remember, the Stanley Cup champion Flames were supposed to dispatch the Kings in 4 or 5 games. 2 goals from Luc Robitaille in the opener gave the Kings a 5-3 win at the Saddledome. Game 2 was more of what Flames fans expected. Doug Gilmour scored twice as Calgary won by 3, 8-5. The series was tied, and the allegation was the Flames had recovered. Far from it, as it turned out. Among other things, their power play was ineffective. With Wayne Gretzky back in their lineup, the Kings got them to overtime in Game 3, and Tony Granato gave the Kings the win and a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 evoked reaction in Calgary, the like of which the Flames have never seen before, but then they have never been beaten 12-4 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. 3 Kings, Taylor, Granato, and Sandstrom had hat tricks, and Wayne Gretzky had 5 points. The Flames were reeling, and the Kings leading 3-1. On the brink of disaster on Thursday night, the Flames answered the pressure with Joe Nieuwendyk taking control. His 4 points inspired a 5-1 Calgary win, and the series is in Los Angeles for Game 6 tonight, starting in 2.5 hours. We want to remind you this is the first half of a Stanley Cup playoff doubleheader on Molson Hockey Night in Canada. As soon as the Jets and the Oilers have concluded the proceedings here, we'll send you live to Los Angeles for action between the Kings and the Flames in Game 6 of their series. Both games tonight important to the province of Alberta because in the last 7 years an Alberta team has played in the Stanley Cup final. That streak, though, of 7 straight appearances is in danger of ending tonight in the first round on 2 fronts, here in Winnipeg and in Los Angeles, where the Flames are facing elimination. In those last 7 years, the Alberta entries have brought 5 Stanley Cups to the province. During the course of Game 6 between the Jets and the Oilers tonight, we will update you on Game 6 between Chicago and Minnesota at the Met Center in Minnesota. It starts in about a half an hour. The Hawks lead 3-2. And of course, we'll also update you on Calgary at Los Angeles playing Game 6 tonight as well. And right now, let's send you ringside here at the Winnipeg Arena for the national anthem.
Our home and native land, to patriot love in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Well, as they have done in the previous 2 games, this capacity crowd began cheering during the national anthem, and this place will be in an uproar tonight. Obviously, Elvis has picked up his tickets.
Don Koharski will referee tonight with Kevin Collins and Pat Capuzzo on the lines. And in goal for the Edmonton Oilers, as he has been in the previous 5, is Bill Ranford. After a shaky start, his play has improved with each game. Bob Essenza knocked out of Game 4 7 minutes into the second period in a collision with Glenn Anderson, draws the starting assignment for the Jets.
In that game that Bob Essenza was knocked out of, he was the main reason the Jets were ahead in the second period. He had a sensational first period in that game.
Well, will the Winnipeg Jets add a new chapter to their hockey history, or will this series go back to Edmonton for a 7th game on Monday night? Craig Muni, unable to get it out. Kozlowski falls back of the goal. Kevin Lowe moves it ahead to Bookberger. He has really played well in this series. The Jets with their forechecking force a turnover in the Edmonton zone. The Oilers get it out. A 2-line pass is called against Winnipeg as Kozlowski touched the puck in the neutral zone.
A number of scratches for both teams. Playoff time. Randy Carlyle a couple of more weeks with his injury. Grant Fuhr, the most notable scratch for the Edmonton Oilers. Vladimir Ruziska has yet to play in this year's playoffs.
Doug Smale and Phil Sykes, who missed the last 2 games because of injuries, are back in the Winnipeg lineup tonight. And they could play a key role because they are penalty killers and they do an exceptional job in that area. John Muckler, who has been named Coach of the Year in every league in which he has been a head coach except the National Hockey League, hopes to lead his team to a Stanley Cup in this 1990 playoff chase. Anderson fired it wide. Kept in at the point by Messier. He's bumped by Fenton. Centers it. Shot right on as Craig Simpson was set up by Messier. And Bob Essenza with a big save early in the hockey game. An icing call against the Winnipeg Jets. Remember, we've got a doubleheader coming up for you tonight. Immediately upon the conclusion of this game, we'll be switching to the Forum in Los Angeles for Game 6 of the Kings and Calgary Flames.
Bob Essenza, a big save early in this game. Messier and Anderson and Simpson reunited as a line. In Game 4, a big
Murdoch continuing to downplay the fact that there is any pressure on his team in this 6th game at the Winnipeg Arena. John Muckler suggesting that all the pressure in this 6th game is on the Winnipeg Jets.
There's been a lot of flying games between the 2 coaches in this series.
Randy Gregg with a shot that does not get through. Thomas Dean in the corner. Starts out slowly. He scored a pretty goal in Game 5 late in the first period to tie the score at 1. He also drew a gross misconduct as the final buzzer sounded for comments he made to referee Denny Morrell. Lamb to Curry. He tried to get it back to Lamb, but in attempting to stay onside, he took himself out of the play. Helmut having trouble moving it out of there. Finally, it does come out into the center ice area. We've played a minute and a half of this opening period. So far, we haven't seen the robust hitting that was so evident in the first 5 games of the series.
I think both teams realize they can't take any penalties early and get the momentum for one team or the other going due to a stupid penalty.
A race for that puck along the boards. Kumpel trying to get away from Lowe. Lowe tied him up. And as the puck is touched, it's an offside call against Winnipeg.
Mark Kumpel is one of those players that Bob Murdoch has called upon to kill penalties in and out of the lineup towards the end of the season. Has really been one of the support cast, as Mike Smith has called them. Big part of this Winnipeg Jets team this year. All the players that supposedly no-name players who have come through for the Jets.
The marketing promotion for this series was the Charge of the White Brigade. And the majority of the 15,000-plus spectators are wearing something white tonight. Teppo Numminen fires it in. So far, just 1 shot on goal. That by Craig Simpson and a fine save by Bob Essenza. Sykes checked along the boards. Moving with it is Murphy. Drops it for Jelena. There's the shot wide. Kevin Lowe keeps it in at the point. Left back of the net for Graves. Graves, a wraparound attempt. Jelena is knocked down in front of the net. Lead pass for Kumpel. Kumpel is tied up by Lowe. McElwain unable to get to that loose puck. Graves picks it up. He's checked. Smale can't go anywhere with it. Low shot knocked down by Mo Mantha. Mantha, long shot wide of the net. Rebound, Paslowski on the backhand, fires it wide. Howardchuk feeds it back to the point to Ellen. It came out across the line. 16:50 is the time remaining in the still scoreless opening period. Up until Game 5, the team that had scored first in the 4 previous playoff games and the last 3 regular season games involving these two teams had lost. The Edmonton Oilers were the first to score in Game 5, and they also went on to a 4-3 victory. Messier comes out for Anderson. Essenza plays it around the board. Ashton is checked. Simpson gets the puck for Messier. Messier tried to throw it out front. He was checked by Ellen. Lead pass for Fenton. Fenton behind his back for Ellen. Ellen knocked off the puck. It's whistled down on an offside call as well.
Talking about this line of Messier, Simpson, and Anderson, Glenn Anderson got his first point in Game 5 in Edmonton. It was a big one. It was on the winner. And there's Dave Ellett. He had the big goal for the Winnipeg Jets in Game 4 here in double overtime.
Many were suggesting that there may have been no bigger goal in the Winnipeg Jet history, and that overtime winner finally proved to a lot of people that the Jets could win a crucial hockey game.
Ellett has had a strong series offensively, but defensively, he and his partner, Frederick Olofsson, have been broken up because they were struggling in their own zone.
Both were on the minus side in the plus-minus ratings. Vasilevsky dumps it in. Charlie Huddy, who's had an outstanding series, moves it along the boards for McTavish. He gets it loose to Bookberger, rink wide for Klima. Back to Bookberger, he overskated it. Olofsson loses it. Klima to Bookberger. Bookberger with a quick shot. Big rebound, kicked away by Essenza, and back comes Winnipeg, led by Paslowski. Howardchuk trying to catch up with the play. He was ridden into the corner. A centering attempt. That bounces up against the side of the net, and Ranford holds it there for a face-off.
Some good pressure by the Winnipeg Jets, and Bill Ranford taking no chances. Throws the puck against the side of the net to get the face-off. The crowd here is very vocal, comparable to the Chicago Stadium in both Games 3 and 4, and once again here in Game 6.
Well, you saw all those celebrities who showed up tonight. You heard Don Cherry was here, so if he was here, they were going to show up for Game 6 at the Winnipeg Arena. Randy Gray moves it to the line, but not out. Gord Donnelly tried to keep it in as he moved in from his blue line spot, but the Oilers clear the zone. Winnipeg comes right back. Soft pass intended for Smale, intercepted by Messier. Charlie Huddy brings it down the ice, bounces to the corner. Simpson runs Newmanen into the corner. There's a whistle on the play. I believe it's an offside call. Now Gord Donnelly comes in to bump with Simpson. He took exception to the hit that Simpson put on Teppo Newmanen in the corner. The Edmonton Oilers, John, had filed a complaint with the league office about an incident involving Donnelly and Kelly Bookberger in Game 5. It showed Donnelly with the toe of his skate after a stoppage in play, tapping Bookberger on the chin. And the Oilers allege that he attempted to kick Bookberger, but there was no penalty assessed.
There was no penalty on the play. The Oilers did send the tape to Brian O'Neill at the NHL. I don't know whether they've made a ruling on it yet. It was very unclear. I talked to Gord Donnelly this morning at the pregame skate, and he said he'd heard nothing about it so far.
15-15 remaining in this opening period. The Winnipeg Jets have yet to register a shot on goal. Thomas Steen sends Mo Mantha away. Mantha trying to work through the defense. He's upended by Craig Muni. Glenn Anderson starts back for Messier. Messier is checked by Thomas Steen and knocked off the puck. Mo Mantha gains control. Too far for Steen, but he does get it back. Steen moving into the slot area, tried to slide it across, and he was checked, and the puck is knocked down the ice. Messier racing after it. Messier against the board, controlling, gives it to Ruotsalainen. His shot, they score! It's deflected. Glenn Anderson took that centering attempt and deflected it past Bob Essendon.
Now the Jets are complaining, saying that Anderson was in the crease. And Reijo Ruotsalainen is about the only defenseman on the Edmonton Oilers who will take some chances offensively. And he plays well when he plays with Mark Messier. There's Ruotsalainen going to the corner, and he just fires it at the net. Mo Mantha has Glenn Anderson tied up in front. And Ruotsalainen, there's Anderson. Is he in the crease? Pretty darn close on the replay. And it goes off Anderson's foot as Tikkanen then comes into your picture. And the puck goes by Bob Essendon.
So the Edmonton Oilers move into a 1-0 lead. Cronin off the boards for Sykes. He gets it ahead to Campbell. He's checked.
Assisted by number 26, Reijo Ruotsalainen, and number 11, Mark Messier.
Now it's Sykes. Back to Cronin. The Oilers forechecking, causing the Jets some problems in their own zone. Campbell is unable to go anywhere against Graves. Puck picked up by Graves. He's coming in with Jelena. He tried to get it back to Jelena, but it's intercepted by Sykes and dumped out of the zone. This line saw very little action in Game 4, but they played a lot more in Game 5 and were definitely a factor in the outcome. They credited that goal to Tikkanen, but it is Glenn Anderson with Messier and Ruotsalainen drawing the assist.
John Buckler was criticized for not using his fourth line in Game 4. When it went to double overtime, his team did look tired.
Lead pass for Hawerchuk. As it's knocked down by Paslowski, Winnipeg is called on the offside. 13:27 left in the period. Well, they officially announced Esa Tikkanen as the goal scorer, but it was Glenn Anderson in front of the net who deflected it.
It looked like it went off Glenn Anderson's foot. Tikkanen came into the picture late. Maybe that's why the official scorer will have to take another look at it. It sure looked like Glenn Anderson from up here.
Jari Kurri has it knocked down. Paslowski tried to slide it across for Hawerchuk, and it was blocked. Tikkanen comes back. Tikkanen still controlling to the point for Gregg. His shot is blocked. It goes to the corner. The defenseman goes after it. Behind the goal for Land. His centering attempt picked off by Donnelly. Ahead to Hawerchuk. Doug Smale going for the net. Hawerchuk having trouble controlling it as he's checked by Kurri. The Oilers dump it out. Back after it is Paslowski. 1-0. The Edmonton Oilers lead it. Dave Ellett fakes the shot. Ellett moving in, still controlling. Tried to give it to Paul McDermott, and McDermott was checked, and there's a penalty coming up with 12:35 remaining in this first period. The Jets will go to the power play.
Gregg takes an interference penalty at 7:25, and the Jets power play goes to work again. Jets power play was 2 for 7 in Game 5 and looked very strong. Randy Gregg came back, was late. He led a rush into the Winnipeg Jets zone. He was late coming back and interfered with Doug Smale.
The Winnipeg power play ranks number 4 in the league, functioning at 25.9%. A much improved power play in postseason activity than during regular season play.
I think they're shooting the puck more, and the main guy is Mo Mantha. He's been a key on this Winnipeg Jet power play.
Mantha is out there on the point along with Dave Ellett. In previous games in the series, the Jets have opened with Freddie Olofsson and Ellett back on the point on the power play. Ashton takes the lead pass. Dumping it in. Picked up in the corner by Fenton. Fenton back to Ellett. To Fenton. Off the boards for Ashton. Back to Fenton. He couldn't control it. Messier gets it and moves it to McTavish. McTavish checked from behind by McDermott.
You saw that pass bounce. They've had some problems with the ice here at the Winnipeg Arena.
Radford plays it in the corner away from Fenton. Ashton gets it. He's checked. He dumps it back to the net for Fenton. Fenton off the boards to the point to Ellen. In back of the goal. The Jets still looking for their first shot. McTavish dumps it out of the zone. Racing back after it is Dave Ellen. And there's a penalty coming up. Or they're ruling that it was contacted with a high stick.
Mo Mantha tried to block that clearing attempt, had his stick over his shoulder, and the puck comes all the way back into the Winnipeg Jet zone. I was mentioning they're having some problems with the ice here at the Winnipeg Arena. It was melting yesterday. They turned the air conditioning on here. We were freezing this morning when we were watching the pregame skates, trying to improve the ice. The Winnipeg Arena used to have just great ice. It was the best in the league, and they changed it this year. Why, I don't know, to a new product called Jet Ice, and they haven't mastered that yet.
57 seconds remaining in the penalty to Gregg. Fred Olesen starting out for Winnipeg. In for Thomas Steen. He dumps it to the corner, but Charlie Huddy gets there first. Huddy can't get out. The battle along the boards. The Jets trying to move it. Finally, it's dumped back to the net. Steve Smith races after it. Smith bangs it out to center ice. Kozlowski goes back for Winnipeg. He moves it over to Newman, and just 16 seconds remaining in the penalty as Thomas Steen starts away. Steen in for Kozlowski. The save, the rebound picked up by Pat Elnick. He's knocked down by Huddy. A clearing attempt blocked by Newman. In for Thomas Steen. The penalty is over as the Oilers are back at full strength. Fine penalty killing by Edmonton on the first power play opportunity of the game. Now Steen gets it. Steen into Kozlowski. Kozlowski tried to slide it through to Newman. It's intercepted. Messier breaks away with Gregg. Messier moving in. Backhander, he scores!
And the Winnipeg Jets pressing on that power play, taking a chance. Their defenseman pinching in, and the Oilers capitalize. Good penalty killing by the Oilers. Sets up his 2-on-1, and watch Sean Cronin. He gives Messier too much room and then decides he's going to charge him. It's too late. Messier pulled it by Cronin, and then Cronin hits his goaltender, and Bob Esposito can't get across. Cronin loses where he is on the ice. And there you see Cronin runs into Essence, backed him too far. And you can't do that against a Hart Trophy candidate like Mark Messier.
An unassisted goal for Mark Messier, and the Oilers have a 2-0 lead. Dumped in by Sykes. Kumpel racing after it. Smith gets there first. From a goaltender standpoint, John, I think you'd rather have Randy Gregg shooting than Mark Messier.
For sure.
Mo Mantha takes a shot that bounces off a skate high over the glass and out of play.
And on a 2-on-1, as from a goaltender standpoint, again, you want the player to shoot from the wide angle. And Cronin let Messier come right across.
9:42 remains in the first. The Oilers lead by 2. Following this game, it's a Hockey Night in Canada doubleheader. We'll be going to Los Angeles for Game 6 of the Calgary-Los Angeles Kings series. Viewers in Calgary will see the entire Calgary-Los Angeles game. .42 remaining in this opening period. The Oilers have dominated. They lead by 2. Kumpel couldn't knock it in. Charlie Huddy has control for Edmonton. Buchberger sends it ahead to McTavish. McTavish is knocked down by Newman, and there's going to be a penalty. So leading by 2, the Edmonton Oilers will have a power play as Teppo Newman goes to the penalty box.
The hooking penalty, and the Oilers going to power play at 10:39. The Jet defense is getting caught up. Here you see McTavish in behind. A good pass by Buchberger. and Newman got the stick on McTavish, and McTavish went down. The hooking penalty resulted.
Well, those 2 goals by the Oilers have certainly taken the crowd out of this hockey game.
And maybe this penalty, if they can kill it off, will give the crowd a lift in the Winnipeg Jets, because they sure need a lift right now. They only have 1 shot on goal, and that was during their power play.
McElwain fires it down the ice. He's out there killing off this penalty with Doug Smale. McElwain this year scored 7 shorthanded goals for the Jets. Rink-wide pass for Anderson. He couldn't get a shot away, partially blocked by Cronin. Knocked out into the center ice area by McElwain. Fired back into the Winnipeg zone, and then the Jets' Sean Cronin, trying to fire it down the ice, put it right into the Winnipeg bench. And I think he hit Paul McDermott with that puck.
And Paul McDermott was hit in the pregame skate this morning. He cut for a few stitches. And here his own teammates are out to get him. Look at him shake his head here. He didn't have his helmet on in the pregame skate this morning. It was cut in the forehead here. He got it in the hand. He was fortunate to get his hand up to block it.
Trainer Jim Ramsey, however, is looking at Sean Cronin's hand. Apparently he's okay. Kumpel and Sykes are out there in a penalty-killing role now. Lead pass for Simpson. He tried to get it back to Messier. He was tied up by Mantha. Simpson to the point to Smith. Over to Ruotsalainen. Back to Smith. Anderson in front of the net as Messier lets the shot go right on. Mantha in the corner is checked by both Anderson and Simpson. Ellett is in to help out, playing it around the boards. Ruotsalainen keeps it in for Messier. Over to Simpson. There's the shot. Bad save by Essenza. Messier to Smith at the point. Over to Ruotsalainen. A lot of traffic in front of that net. The Jets having problems moving Simpson and Anderson out of there. Now Anderson goes to the corner. He's checked by Mantha, but he can't clear. 3 players in front of the net. Ruotsalainen with a shot. No goal. No goal. The play had been whistled down by referee Don Koharski. There were 3 players in front of the net, and Messier is going off. A penalty call
for interference on the goaltender, and I'd like to see this penalty called more often. We had a case the other night where Paul McDermott was in the crease, and I was talking to referee Denny Morrell after the game, and he said he should have called an interference penalty on McDermott. Now watch Messier. Just clean. He's going through the crease. Essenza is still in the crease. Messier knocked the goaltender out of the way, and a good call by referee Don Koharski. Now watch Messier. There's nobody pushing him. He just comes through and takes a piece of Bob Essenza, leaves the goaltender at his mercy and an empty net for Reijo Ruotsalainen. A good call by referee Don Koharski.
And that negates the penalty to Teppo Numminen. 34 seconds remaining, and then the Winnipeg Jets will have a power play. Charlie Huddy. He told me that in Game 4, in that double overtime, he logged more ice time than in any other game in his NHL career. Sean Cronin ahead to Smale. He couldn't handle it. Tikkanen takes it back into his own zone. 10 seconds remaining in the Numminen penalty. Sean Cronin having trouble controlling it. Picked up by Lamb. Lamb gets around Cronin. He walks in front. Scores! No! Essenza is down. Cronin went flying into the net. He's hurt. The net was knocked off its support. And Cronin is hurt.
Bob Essenza came up with a big save. It did look like Tikkanen had him at his mercy. Desperation got the glove up and made the stop. It was Mark Lamb who broke in on goaltender Bob Essenza, and Sean Cronin again deep in his own zone, trying in desperation to get back. Here comes Lamb. Essenza tries to get the stick out for the poke check and misses it, but watch his left hand. Look at his left hand right there, and his stick. Got a stick on it first, bounced it into his glove, and there's Cronin. You can see heavily into the post.
Lamb thought he had scored, but the puck hit the stick, it appears, of Bob Essenza, and then bounced back into his glove.
Hit the shaft of his stick, and then down into the catching glove, and you can see Mark Lamb with the hands up. He thought he had a goal, and in the 2 games that Mark Lamb has scored, the Edmonton Oilers have won.
Sean Cronin went crashing heavily into that post. They're looking at his right shoulder or collarbone.
Looks to be a shoulder problem the way they're rotating his right arm.
He went flying over top goaltender Bob Essenza. And you'll see him crash into that post heavily.
Watch Mark Lamb. He thinks he's got a goal, and watch. A bounce for the Winnipeg Jets here is down and out is Essenza, but he waves at it with his stick and gets it, and there's Cronin, and you can see trips over his own goaltender into the post, and the Magnets didn't give as easily as they normally do. Cronin paid the price.
But he's up and he skates off to that Winnipeg Jet bench, and he's going to stay there. He's not going to the dressing room. That's a surprise.
Nobody has ever questioned Sean Cronin's toughness. He'll hang in there as long as he can.
7:21 remaining in the opening period. The Winnipeg Jets now on the power play. Teppo Numminen out of the box. The Jets with just 1 shot on goal so far. The Oilers have had 7. And Mark Lamb came oh so close to making it a 3-0 game. Steen back to the point. Mantha with a shot. It goes wide. Kevin Lowe unable to get it out. Howardchuk goes to the corner after it. The Thomas Steen cross ice for Elnick. It bounces and is held by goaltender Bill Ranford.
Craig McTavish made a great play. He realized that the Winnipeg Jets were trying that play in deep, and McTavish gets back on Elnick before he can take the pass from Steen.
That's a favorite power play move by the Winnipeg Jets. Howardchuk to Steen and over to Elnick at the side of the net. This time it didn't work.
And there's McTavish right on Elnick. Bill Ranford tipped the pass, hit McTavish, and was able to cover it up. Now watch McTavish. He's out on the point, man. Realizes that he's in trouble. Comes back, has his man, and an easy save for Ranford.
Back to the line to Allen. Allen gives it to Howardchuk. His shot blocked by Smith. McTavish fires it down the ice.
And the crowd is hollering, shoot, shoot. Not much sense shooting when Steve Smith is lying on the ice right in front of your stick.
Lead pass for Steen. Steen works to the corner. Moving in front. Shot saved by Ranford. Elnick gets it back to Ellen. Another penalty coming up against Edmonton. The Jets will have a 2-man advantage for 24 seconds. 6:19 is remaining in the first period.
Steve Smith takes a tripping penalty at 13:41 on Pat Allen. And the Edmonton Oilers have to kill off a 2-man disadvantage for 24 seconds. And the big part is the face-off is deep in their zone. The importance of winning the face-off when they're killing penalties will be shown right here.
McTavish against Steen. Olsen, the lone man, back. McTavish and Steen tie each other up. Steen gets the puck. Back to Dave Ellen. Ellen over to Olsen. Olsen to Ellen. There's the shot blocked by McTavish. Ellen gets it again. Had trouble keeping it onside. Over to Dale Howardchuk. Fakes the shot. Into Steen. Steen attempted to center it for Elnick. And it's covered up at the side of the net by Craig Munich.
And you can see that puck bouncing around, and you don't like to make too much of the case of the ice here. But at this time in the period, we played almost 15 minutes. The Jets are having trouble handling the puck on clear passes, and people like Thomas Steen are great puck handlers. There has to be some excuse. Look at this. sees the pass all the way, and it bounces up off his stick. He can't handle it.
And again, you saw Elnick uncovered at the side of that Edmonton net, but Steen couldn't get it to him. 1 second remaining in the Messier penalty. As he comes out of the box, McTavish dumps it down the ice. Essen's out of his net to play it to the boards. Knocked down by McTavish. To Messier, back to McTavish. He's checked. He gets it again. Another shot right on. And Olofsson starts away for Winnipeg. To Thomas Steen. To Howardchuk. Howardchuk, rink-wide pass, intercepted. Back comes Messier. McTavish has done a great job penalty killing for the Oilers. Messier lost control of it. McTavish steals it. 1:05 remaining in the penalty to Steve Smith. Ashton is stopped at the line. Rink-wide pass. McDermott couldn't handle it. The Oilers are doing a great job tonight of checking the Jets in all three zones.
And a little pressure on the Winnipeg Jets. You saw how long the Howardchuk line stayed on the ice in that power play. They've been very unselfish through the first 5 games and played pretty well.
Newman back at the line. Long shot over top of the goal. Curry picks it up. He dumps it down the ice. 28 seconds remaining in the penalty to Steve Smith.
And Brent Ashton scored the winner in Game 1 when he was playing on the power play. Here he gets out with less than 30 seconds left.
Newman almost gave it away in his own zone. Tikkanen gets it. Tikkanen, a centering attempt. It hits the side of the net. With that two-man advantage, the Jets did not register a shot on goal. And in 4 seconds, the Oilers will be back at full strength. And an icing call against Winnipeg with now just 1 second remaining in the penalty.
And what a job by Craig McTavish, the 5-on-3, the old veteran penalty killer from many years and a couple of teams. Winning the faceoff, he anticipates so well. Used that experience, cut off the center of the ice. Held scoreless, but I think John Muckler will take his penalty killing ahead of any goals that Craig McTavish could get.
Now, Bob Murdoch has to be concerned about what he has witnessed in this first period. Just 2 shots on goal by the Jets, and they held that two-man advantage for 24 seconds.
They didn't have their first shot on net till after the 10-minute mark here in the first period. You've got a sellout crowd, the White Brigade in attendance, and they've been so vocal and so supportive. You want to get them involved as much as possible. It's pretty hard when you haven't got anything to cheer about.
You see number 44, Sean Cronin, after colliding with that goalpost, back in the lineup for the Jets. He gets the puck. The Oilers are back at full strength. Ruotsalainen goes back into his own zone after it. The Jets trying to forecheck now and force a turnover, but the Oilers get it out of the zone. McIlwain forced back by Simpson. Olofsson up along the boards for McIlwain and bounces away from him, and Ruotsalainen gathers it in. Anderson couldn't move out with it. But Ruotsalainen picks it up for Edmonton and leaves it there for Messier. Ahead to Anderson. Rink-wide pass for Craig Simpson. Simpson trying to get around Newman. Gord Donnelly is back there to pick it up. A whistle on the play. And a penalty coming up with 3:30 left in the first.
Steve Surdy, and for the people who have been watching all this series, there's been a lot of bad feeling, and most of it directed at Craig Simpson for the Edmonton Oilers. And there you saw the right hand as Newman engaged Simpson a shot in the face, and the Oilers are back on the power play.
Well, both coaches attempting to downplay the position their teams were in, even though he was leading by a 3-2 margin. Bob Murdoch saying his team was still the underdog. And John Muckler in this series said that his team really could not be cast in the role of favorite. Randy Gregg with a long shot. Muckler was reflecting on the closeness of the season series. 5-3 for Edmonton. Mark Lamb is checked. Curry, a centering attempt, they score. Randy Gregg came moving in from the point and deflected that centering pass by Yari Curry.
We see the replay on this one, and this is very close to being directed in with the foot. And I think the replay will show that Randy Gregg isn't the little two-step here. It's hard for the referee to call, but watch Randy Gregg. Thank you very much. But the Oilers will take it. Randy Gregg jumps in by Gord Donnelly. Gord Donnelly turns around too quickly, and here comes Gregg. And besides kicking it in the net, he goes right through the crease, but he's got his right leg up there. Now, does he direct it in the net, or does it just bounce off and go in?
Well, it contacted his stick. I'm positive that replay showed it contacted his stick.
And is he in the crease?
So it's a 3-0 lead for the Oilers. 2:52 the time remaining. Gregg from Curry and Lamb, a power play goal at 16:52. This is the biggest margin that either team has had at any time in the series. John Cronin pokes it in. Buchberger gets back there first. Olsen could not keep it in at the point. Kumpel picks it up for Winnipeg. Tied up by Ruotsalainen. Ruotsalainen takes the hit from Sykes in the corner. Kumpel comes in to try and help out. Sykes dug it out, but he couldn't get a pass across to the point. A whistle on the play and a penalty coming up. This one against Dale Hawerchuk with 2:04 left in the period.
A little frustration time for the Winnipeg Jets. They're trailing 3-0. Discipline and patience are two things that Bob Murdoch has stressed throughout the year. And here the Winnipeg Jets are showing very little. They're trailing 3-0, and they can't afford to take any more chances. Here's another look at the goal. Now watch Randy Gregg come into your screen. A good play by Gregg, gets his stick on the ice right there and tips it back up over Bob Esselstyn. Give the player a target and the player will hit it. Gregg right through the crease, tipping it by Bob Esselstyn.
And now the Oilers have a chance to add to their advantage as they are on the power play for the final 2 minutes of this opening period, leading by a score of 3-0, trailing 3-2 in games in the series. His shot off Ellen. Bounces in front of the net. Fired over top of the goal by Craig Simpson. Messier to Simpson. Back to Messier to the point to Charlie Huddy. Over to Messier. His shot saved by Esselstyn. Anderson trying to center. He can't. Simpson knocked down by Ellen. They take the puck to the boards and force a face-off with 1:05 left in the period. 3-0. The Oilers leading.
And Bob Esselstyn trying to keep his team even remotely close in this game. A chance for his old roomie, Craig Simpson, right in front of Bob Esselstyn. Now watch this. Comes up to Simpson. It's almost a sure goal, but look at the legs go up. Stack the pads. Elegant Worsley got it with his top leg and kicked it up over the net.
Simpson and Esselstyn were roommates at Michigan State. Jari Kurri to the point to Ruotsalainen. Lamb in back of the net, checked there by Sean Cronin. Ruotsalainen gets it at the line. Smith in for Curry. He tried to kick it back to Ruotsalainen. It was knocked out into the center ice area, but Curry got back there quickly to cover up. Smith for Curry. Ahead to Lamb. Over to Curry. There's the shot, the save by Esselstyn.
Another big save by Bob Esselstyn. Curry on his forehand. A good shot and a good save.
Just 17 seconds remaining in the period. Smale can't get it out. Lamb picks it up in the center ice area as Newman managed to clear the zone. Just 5 seconds left. The Jets back at full strength now. Hawerchuk out on the ice just as the horn sounds to end the period with the Edmonton Oilers totally in control. They lead it by a 3-0 margin. And this is how they scored. Tikkanen at 5:29, Messier at 9:50, and then a power play goal by Randy Gregg at 16:52 as they outshot the Jets in the opening period 12-2. And so the score at the end of the first period is Edmonton 3, Winnipeg nothing.
At the Winnipeg Arena, we see the widest lead either team has had in any game in this series. The Oilers 3, the Jets no score after 1. When the Jets acquired Paul McDermott from Hartford in December, very few saw it as a major trade, but we could call it that now because he has had a major influence in this series, most likely the most physical player in it. Before we talk about that, let's address the issue of just how far apart these two teams were in the first period. I don't think anybody expected the Jets to be as flat as you were.
No, we certainly came out pretty flat. It's kind of disappointing. We knew from the other night that they'd be coming out extremely hard. When a team is one win or one loss away from being eliminated, they play extremely hard, and we saw that the other night. They played very well, and we were expecting the same tonight, and we knew we had to come up with a big effort tonight, and we're at home and all that, but I mean we still got to work hard.
Do you accept the statement that the pressure is on the Jets because if you don't win here it'll be a tall order to claim Game 7, the deciding game at Northlands on Monday?
Well, it's just pressure that you put on yourself. We've known all along that we're a team that weren't looking as if we were going to be in the spot where we are, and we're certainly going to try to finish them off tonight. If things don't go as planned, obviously we go back to Edmonton for the 7th game, and still it's up in the air to whoever's going to win.
Your physical play in this series, Paul, was it by design, or have you just capitalized on your openings?
No, certainly we're trying to key on a few of their players. That's really been the way I've played in my career, and as you can see in the playoffs, every series seemed to be a little more physical than the regular season, and I think mainly that I've picked it up a little bit, but so has everybody else.
Well, one of the checks you dealt out in this series might not have been the stiffest, but it was called by many the most profound because very few have been able to flatten Mark Messier the way you did in Game 3. Tell me about that check.
Well, we were on a power play, and he was in forechecking on our defense, and he was doing a good job of it. I just came back, and I hit him, but I really didn't hit him that hard. It must have just caught him in the right spot and must have just winded him, but he came back, and he's playing very well.
Yeah, he was only winded and got up to play the next shift. Our thanks to Paul McDermott, whose Winnipeg Jets trail the Oilers 3-0 after 1 period here at the Winnipeg Arena. Don Cherry is in the coach's corner when our first intermission continues after this.
You buy Pepsi. It's got what it takes.
The Oilers lead the Jets 3-0, and the Stars lead the Hawks 1-0. There's just been a goal in Bloomington. You must be getting tired, what with all the travel?
It's better than working.
He always says, never mention you're tired.
Never mention you're tired. There's guys getting up at 5 in the morning to go out and work, on a jackhammer tomorrow, and we're supposed to be
tired. We're not going to get into the jackhammer stories.
Jeez, I guess he's tired.
All the way here, no, I'm not
tired. A day in his life.
All the way here, we heard about the jackhammer, and
right.
The crowd at one time tonight sounded like one and doesn't now. What about this game?
Well, I like it here. I like the picture of the Queen. Mm-hmm. And you know what he said? He did say this. He said, I'm a royalist and I love her. And you said you didn't like her helmet.
No, I didn't say that.
Say that.
Look at that.
He said
I did not say that. I thought you said Prima.
No, I didn't. I crossed my heart. He said he didn't like her helmet.
Didn't say that.
I love that Queen.
To the Queen.
Yes.
Okay, what do you do if you're Bob Murdoch?
Well, right off the bat, listen, remember when there's nothing worse.
I didn't hear the opening, so.
No, there's nothing worse, well, I'll tell you what I said, than being 3-2 at home because the team, all you got to win is in your back home. The other guys, like I'm sure Muckler, all he said to him, look, guys, we win this game, we got him. What happens is Winnipeg is very, very tight, and Messier's coming along. He hasn't really, he's played pretty good. He got the winner and everything. When he plays like he plays, boy, look out, and that's the whole story.
Okay, I want to ask you this. A lot of people have said, how is it possible to move from the Queen to the Kings? How could they win 12-4 at home and then lose 5-1 to Calgary in a big game?
Well, that Mackey guy did them a favor, and I think they should put him on the payroll just like I did Brian McClellan, because what happened is...
starting that again.
No, I'm not. What happens is when the LA Kings picked up that paper and read that article, they said this game is history. Because I know they're supposed to be professionals, the papers doesn't bother them and all stuff.
Larry Robinson was quoted as saying, had the Flames been illiterates, they'd have had a shot.
Some of them are.
Which is just backing up.
But anyhow, what I'm saying is it's the other way, too. I remember we played Chicago in Boston. We beat them 8-1. Tony was in, and they said they're nothing and everything, and they come out and beat us the next game. So the papers can kill you that way.
Barry, if I could have your undivided attention for just a moment. And Mike, I'd like to ask you about Todd Harchie, who is a Harvard grad who is going to play on behalf of the Winnipeg Jets for Sokol Kiev.
Sokol Kiev? That sounds like a chicken.
In the Ukraine next year.
Now wait a minute, let me get
a neat project. He's going to go over there, get to know a little bit about the Soviet Elite League. Mike.
Oh, the Elite. Oh, is that the league where Krutov and them played?
Sure.
And all those great Russians? Where all those great Russians played? Now let me just get this right.
30 seconds.
All right, we pay them millions to come over here and stink the joint out, right?
No.
Well, stink the joint out, let's face it. And now we're paying them to take some of our players. Makes sense, eh?
Don, incidentally, was going to join the crowd here this evening. They loved him so much and wear one of those white jackets. Went through the closet looking for his. Unfortunately, when he found it, it had leather straps on the back, so he elected not to wear it here in Winnipeg tonight.
Coach's Corner is brought to you by...
That's 3-0 after one period. Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC returns.
Well, for the past couple of days, John Muckler has been suggesting that all the pressure would be on the Winnipeg Jets in this 6th game at the Winnipeg Arena. And the Jets in the opening 20 minutes, John, certainly played like a team that was uptight.
They really did. They were mishandling the puck. Even on their breakouts, they couldn't seem to get the passes anywhere close.
McIlwain in across the line, tried to slide it through for Sykes, broken up by Muni, and he takes Sykes into the corner. Buchberger is checked as Newmanen pinches in from the point. The Oilers try and get it out the other side. Donnelly attempted to keep it in, but it was knocked down. Lowe moves it ahead to Buchberger. He couldn't go anywhere with it. Phil Sykes gets it out of the zone, then takes a hit from Craig McTavish. Donnelly, a long shot wide of the Edmonton net. Ashton hammers Randy Gregg into the corner. Back comes Edmonton, led by Lamb. Lamb over to Curry, a long shot. Goes off the leg to the corner. Momantha tied up by Lamb. Couldn't get a stick on it. Huddy with a shot from the point. With a toe save. Bob Essens, a lead pass intended for Ashton, too far for him. Brantford plays it around on the boards. McDermott keeps it in. Ashton takes the hit from Lamb. Fenton is tied up by Randy Gregg. Tikkanen picks up the loose puck. For Curry, he dumps it to the corner. Going after it is Lamb. He ties Ellett up. McDermott takes Curry out of the play, and Mantha moves it ahead for Ellett. Ellett, long shot, big rebound. Ellett gets it again. Ellett flips it across to Steen. He leaves it for Olofsson. Olofsson moving in. He's checked by Tikkanen, and the puck slides out to center ice. Tikkanen for Curry. His shot and the save by Bob Essens. With 18:04 remaining in the second period, Edmonton ahead by 3. With a Stanley Cup update, here's Scott Oak.
Down in Minnesota, the Hawks have a chance to finish the North Stars and advance to the Norris Final against St. Louis. They're in the first period at the Met Center. The Stars trying to stave off elimination. They lead 1-0. Sean Chambers got the goal as Greg Millen surrendered a fat rebound. Goal came at 10:28 of the first period. Greg Gilbert came back to tie it for the Hawks, finding the 5-hole on John Casey. And he had time to do it as he was unwashed. The Hawks and North Stars are tied at 1.
I'm surprised Mike Keenan never pulled Greg Millen after one goal. Victor Loshik, he seems to get that hook out in the first 5 minutes of every game.
Mike Keenan led the National Hockey League this season in giving goaltenders the hook, and he has been doing the same thing in the playoffs. Face-off to the left of Bob Essens. Howardchuk out there against Messier. From the draw, the puck slides right to the goal, and Essens covers up again. In the past 2 games at the Winnipeg Arena with last line change, Bob Murdoch has opted to have the Brett Ashton line out against Mark Messier. Right now, it's Dale Hawerchuk out there against Messier.
Well, one of the things you do if your club's feeling uptight, you just rotate the lines. Try and get everybody into it. Get the flow going in your favor no matter who's facing off against who.
Pass to Olesen. He gets away from Smith. Smith actually knocks him down, and there's going to be a penalty. So the Winnipeg Jets, with 17:43 remaining, will go to the power play. We'll be back after this message.
Steve Smith takes his second penalty of the game, a holding penalty at 2:17. Frederick Olesen tries to jump by Smith on the boards, and Smith right there with his left hand just reached out and threw Olesen down. It looked like Olesen went down pretty easily, but Smith let the hand go off his stick, reached out, and takes the holding penalty.
Well, the Jets, I'm sure, realize that if they're going to get back into this hockey game, they have to start shooting at goaltender Bill Ranford. They have managed just 3 shots so far.
They have to get their power play going, and it has been pretty good in this series.
Messier breaks out with McTavish. McTavish to Messier. Messier back to McTavish. They got just a little too fancy. They had a great opportunity to come up with a shorthanded effort. Helnick checked along the board. Picked up behind the goal by McTavish. And again, the Oiler penalty killing is superb.
And the Jets look lazy coming back. Just because you have a power play, you can't get that nonchalant, especially with the #1 shorthand team like the Edmonton Oilers.
Hawerchuk for Steen. Back to the point to Ellett. Over to Steen. Hawerchuk takes the pass. To Ellett. Ellett with a shot saved by Ranford. Loose puck. Hawerchuk trying to center it. It goes back to the goal. Steen has it for Winnipeg. To Olesen, a shot up high. The puck bounces off the glass, and it's dumped down the ice by Tikkanen as he takes a hit from Ellett.
The Jet power play was effective. They have guys in front of Bill Ranford. Paul Fenton in particular has been good, jamming up the crease. There, Bill Ranford saw both those point shots.
That pass took a bounce away from the winger who was racing in. McTavish brings it into the Winnipeg zone. Loose puck picked up by Olesen. 24 seconds remaining in the penalty. Olesen's attempt for Fenton blocked by Messier. The puck loose at the line. Ashton is tied up by Muni. Fenton is checked by Messier. The Oilers are all over the Jets, not allowing them the chance to set up in the power play. Back comes Messier with McTavish. Messier backhander, the save by Essenson. The Oilers back at full strength. Ashton lost control of it, gets it again, can't get a shot away. Back of the goal for McDermott. McDermott is checked. Cronin keeps it in from the point. He fires it wide. Mantle from the other point pinching in. Simpson gains control. He can't move it around the boards against Brett Ashton. Ashton trying to go for the net. He's checked. Fenton with a shot. A deflection by McDermott. And I think that may have hit the post. Lamb starts back. Firing it ahead for Anderson. Anderson works away from Cronin. Now takes a hit from Cronin. They both go down. Winnipeg starts back, led by Smale. Long shot saved by Ranford. Picked up by McElwain. His shot, rebound. They bang away at it. McElwain gets it again, trying to feed it out front, and it's knocked down the ice by Craig Simpson.
Some good pressure by the Jets, and the fans are starting to get back into this game.
Here comes McElwain. Taken out of the play by Smith. Allen unable to keep it in against Woodberger. He pokes it ahead to Klima. Klima with the shot, saved by Essenza. Smale loses it. Donnelly covers up in front, moves it to Smale. He comes out with McElwain. Smale with the shot, glove saved by Ranford, and he holds it for a face-off. 14-11 left in the period. Edmonton continuing to lead by 3.
A Norris Division update from Minnesota, where the North Stars have come back to lead Chicago 2-1. The go-ahead goal by Perry Berezan Greg Millen arguing it was kicked in, but the goal stands, and the Stars led by 1 at 17:25 of the first. Then they increased the lead. Neil Broughton caught Greg Millen off balance, and it's 3-1 North Stars in the final minute of the first period.
And the Jets need a lift. They might get it from some physical play by Sean Cronin there. He chased Glenn Anderson heavily into the boards. Good play by Sean Cronin.
And it's amazing that Cronin is able to deliver such a hit after crashing into the goalpost earlier. Cronin gets it at the point. There's his shot. It goes off the leg. Kumpel leaves it there for Sykes. The Howard chuck. He was spun around. Puck dumped down the ice with Olsson going back after it. Olsson tried to slide it ahead to Sykes. It bounced away from him as Randy Gregg touches it. This will be an icing call against the Winnipeg Jets. Coach Bob Murdoch trying to downplay the pressure on his team coming into this game, saying his squad was still the underdog even though they led 3-2.
And John Buckler, the other side of the coin, is trying to put more pressure on the Winnipeg Jets. And all the papers saying this is the first time in the series that they've had any pressure on, that they've really had to win. But you look back at Game 3 or even Game 4, those were pressure situations for the Winnipeg Jets, and they came through.
And I imagine both coaches were reminding their players between periods about the March 9th game in regular season play in this building where the Oilers led 4-0 in the first period and the Jets came back for a 7-5 win. Buckler referring to it as a negative, and Murdoch talking in positive terms. Oh, Mantha starting out for Winnipeg. Taken out of the play by Bookberger and McTavish. Moves the puck to the center ice area. McDermott lost his stick, kicked it ahead. It comes over to Ashton. His shot right on. He tried to use Kevin Lowe as the screen. Bookberger to McTavish to Klima. Back to Bookberger. Bookberger left it there for Klima. He overskated it. Ellett comes back for Winnipeg. Ellett to Doug Evans. He shoots up high on Ranford and knocked to the corner. Penalty coming up here against the Winnipeg Jets with 13:02 remaining in the second period.
Dave Ellett takes the interference penalty at 6:58, and the Oilers get their fourth power play opportunity of the night. Here comes Craig McTavish, and Ellett gets a stick on his arm. Puck is already in the corner. That's an interference penalty on Ellett. And when Bill Ranford's playing with confidence, he stays on his feet, stays square, and there you see the save on Brent Ashton. Down and right back up again. And after a shaky Game 1 where the papers in Edmonton were just vicious on Bill Ranford, he's really played well in the rest of the series.
Some of the newspaper articles in this series in a number of cities have been rather vicious, haven't they?
Good to be up here in the broadcast booth.
Messier is stopped at the line, dumped down the ice by Newmanen. Ruotsalainen races back after. Doug Smale in forechecking for the Jets, but Anderson wheels away. He's checked by Dave McElwain. The fans react. Sykes is out there now, along with Kumpel as Smale and McElwain go off. 1:21 remaining in the penalty. Messier for Smith. He couldn't quite get it. The Jets in their own zone gain control, and Kumpel dumps at the length of the ice.
This is where the addition of Sykes and Smale in the Winnipeg Jet lineup really helps them killing penalties. Both of them are very good at it.
Cross-ice pass for Lamb to Jari Kurri. He fires it into the corner. Picked up along the boards by Steve Smith. Smith behind the net for Lamb. To the point, to Jari Kurri, to Ruotsalainen, back to Lamb. He had trouble knocking it down. It's left along the boards for Thomas Steen. He moves it out of the zone with 40 seconds remaining in the penalty. Steve Smith forced back in his own zone. Thomas Steen couldn't quite get a stick on it as he tries to steal it from Kurri. Here's Mantha with a shot. It goes wide. It ricochets all the way down the ice. Lamb racing against Cronin. Cronin gets it in the corner, moves it ahead to Evans. Evans for McElwain. Working against Charlie Huddy. McElwain puts on the brakes for Mantha. His shot doesn't get through. McElwain can't get it. He's knocked down. Charlie Huddy brings it out for McTavish. 4 seconds left in the penalty. McTavish checks. Huddy gets it. His shot goes wide. The Jets back at full strength. Doug Smale starts out for Winnipeg. He's checked. The loose puck picked up by Peter Klima in his own zone. Smale is knocked down. The fans reacting, but there's no penalty call. This will be an icing call as Teppo Numminen goes back for Winnipeg with 10:40 remaining in the second period. Edmonton continuing to lead by 3. 14 shorthanded goals for the Jets this season. Dave McElwain shared the league lead with 7. The Edmonton Oilers had 22 shorthanded goals.
And the Oilers' shorthanded goals were more spread out. They're more of a threat no matter who's on the ice. The Jets really only tried for a shorthanded goal when Dave McElwain's playing up front.
Numminen with a shot right on. Steen goes to the corner. Gives it to Howard Chuck, a centering attempt. Knocked down by Messier. Steen gets it again. Steen trying to move in. He's tied up by Kevin Lowe. Howard Chuck tried to get it back to the point. Knocked out by Murphy. Adam Graves picks it up. Graves trying to go around Donnelly. He gets the shot away. Knocked down by Donnelly, and the puck loose at the side of the Winnipeg net. Donnelly ahead to Elnick, to Steen. Howard Chuck playing the wing on this line. Steen stopped by Kevin Lowe. The Oilers were delighted to get Kevin Lowe back in the lineup for Game 5. They missed his presence in Games 3 and 4 here in Winnipeg, which they lost. Ruotsalainen touches it for an icing call with 9:46 left in the period.
And Reijo Ruotsalainen has really added a different dimension to this Edmonton Oilers team. They were looking for a point man for their power play and were able to get Ruotsalainen the trading deadline for Jeff Sharples. You're talking about Kevin Lowe, the addition in Game 5. He played a mean game in Game 5. He really played with a lot of aggressiveness, was taking the body, and in the dressing room, his presence, along with Mark Messier, is probably 2 keys for the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, he'd like to continue playing hockey until the end of May, and then I believe it's a June wedding date. His fiancée, Canadian skiing star Karen Percy. Benton against Messier to the right of Bob Essendon. Bo Mantha picks it up in the corner, ahead for McDermott. Long shot on Ranford. He comes diving way out of his net to grab it with Benton charging at the goal. And now pushing and shoving in front of that Edmonton net. Some of the Oilers players taking exception to the move of Paul Fenton as he came charging into goaltender Bill Ranford.
The first of the 5 times I broke my nose was a similar play to that, where the goaltender comes charging out to get the puck, and the player looks like he's trying to stop and just gets nudged and crashes into the goaltender.
But John, were you wearing a mask the other 4 times?
And I have had it fixed. Here's the play. Now watch Fenton. There's Ranford. He covers up his head, and in goes Fenton. Is he trying to avoid contact with the goaltender, or is he trying to land on top of the goaltender? Here's Ranford. Takes no chances. Buries his head. Now watch Fenton. I might be trying to get out of the way, but I think I'll just take a little piece of the goaltender anyway.
Fenton shared the Winnipeg Jet goal-scoring lead this year with Pat Elnick. Each had 32. For Paul Fenton, that represented a career high. His career resurrected with the Winnipeg Jets after being acquired in trade with the Los Angeles Kings for Gilles Hamel.
He's been a goal scorer in every league he's played in, and I think all his goals are in that 6-inch range around the crease. Scores a lot of deflections and rebound goals.
Bob Murdoch made a comment earlier this year that if you measured the length of all of Paul Fenton's goals, you wouldn't reach the blue line. Fred Olofsson from the blue line, a shot wide. Lamb trying to move it out. Cronin pinches in and sends Lamb flying. Doug Smale back to the net. Vasilevsky knocked down. McElwain was in there to help out. Olofsson pinches in from the point to keep it in. Finally, McTavish gains control and moves it out into the center ice area. It's Lamb and Bookberger, 2-on-1. Lamb back to McTavish. There's a shot saved by Bob Essenza. Lamb was looking for a rebound, but it never materialized. McTavish pokes it away from Cronin, but then goes to the bench in the change. Adam Graves steals it. He's spun around, picked up by McIlwain. He finally moves it ahead to Pazlowski. Pazlowski checked from behind by Martin Jelena to Murphy. Murphy stopped at the line by Olofsson. He gets it ahead to Pazlowski. Left there for Howardchuk. Howardchuk spins away from Lowe. Howardchuk back to the point. Donnelly with a shot, knocked down in front. Loose puck, they score!
Breaks his stick, and the puck just trickles into Bill Radford, and Sykes and Kumpel go to the front of the net. Kumpel on the backhand, and Joe Murphy takes a penalty on the same play. Here it trickles into Radford, and in comes Sykes and Kumpel on the backhand slides it into the net.
So the Jets finally get their first goal of the game. Mark Kumpel, his second of the playoffs. And this crowd is right back in the hockey game, and adding to it is a penalty assessed against Joe Murphy.
After the goal went in, Murphy takes an elbowing penalty, and we talked about the lack of discipline. That's something you can't do. And there's Joe Murphy in the penalty box.
8:25, the time remaining in the period. And John Buckler does not like those undisciplined penalties that his Oilers have taken.
The Oilers, a more experienced playoff team. Joe Murphy's not. And there he showed it. The Winnipeg Jets just score a goal, and now they have another great opportunity on the power play with the crowd involved, and everybody's wound up.
Dale Howardchuk made a great move to initiate that goal as he came in across the line. A bit of a spinorama to get away from a check and retain control. Here's Howardchuk. A centering attempt knocked down by Steve Smith. Smith is checked. Loose puck in front of the net, back to the line, over to Dave Ellett. Ellett tried to go rink wide to Olofsson, knocked down by Messier. Couple from Donnelly and Howardchuk, the official on that Winnipeg goal at 11:35. Offside as Ellis had it slip out across the blue line. The elbowing call against Murphy. At the same time the goal was scored, 11:35. 1:21 remaining in the penalty.
The charge of the White Brigade resurrected here in the second period as the Jets have really come to life. They only had 2 shots in the first period. Never had one until the 10-minute mark. They've now had 11 here in the second period.
And the Oilers, with 12 shots in the first period, have just 6 in the second period. The Winnipeg Jets, on 2 occasions in Edmonton, had 2-goal leads. They lost both hockey games. The Edmonton Oilers with a 3-goal lead tonight, the biggest advantage that either side has had during this playoff series. 1:10 remaining in the penalty to Murphy. Howardchuk checked. Puck knocked down the ice, picked up by Dave Ellett. Ellett to Olofsson. Off the boards for Howardchuk. Howardchuk back to Ellett. To Olofsson. Ellett with a shot saved by Ranford. Olofsson pitches in from the point, and it winds up in the equipment of Craig Muni.
Craig Muni, one of the steady defensemen on the Edmonton Oilers, doesn't get as much press as some of their other defensemen. Kevin Lowe, Steve Smith does his job every night, and they're killing the penalty, made sure, covered up the puck, and got the whistle. The Oilers' penalty killers have really been good here tonight. There were 2 men short in the first period, and here it's a crucial time with 44 seconds left to kill this penalty off or the crowd will go crazy for the rest of the night.
Well, a white-clad, pom-pom waving capacity crowd with shouts of "Go Jets Go" with 7:09 remaining in the period, 44 seconds in the penalty to Murphy. Fenton against McTavish. He gets the draw back to the point. Mantha couldn't control it. To McDermott. McDermott to Fenton. He fires it into the corner. Brent Ashton along the boards is checked by Craig Muni, and the puck is flipped out of the zone. Kevin Lowe, rink-wide pass for Curry. He was tied up by Mantha. Starting back is Teppo Numminen. Ahead to Fenton. He gives it to Ashton. Ashton to Mantha. A shot that goes off the side of the net. Takeman working back out with Curry. He's checked. The puck knocked down the ice. Racing after it is McDermott. He overskated, let it go for Ashton. Back to the point for Numminen. Long shot. Kick to the corner. From the other point, Mantha lets it go. Loose in front of the net. And the Oilers manage to move it to Jari Kurri as the penalty expires. Ahead to Tikkanen, back to Curry. Curry leaves it there for Huddy, a shot right on. And the rebound is picked up by Doug Smale.
Bob Essen's a big save to keep the momentum and his team and the crowd going here in the second period.
Smale tried to flip it back out. It's intercepted by Messier. Messier is checked. Smale grabs it, but that's offside. 5:43 is the time left in the second. The Oilers lead by 2. The second half of our doubleheader coming up immediately after this game. The Calgary Flames at the Los Angeles Kings. The Stanley Cup champions are on the verge of elimination, trailing 3 games to 2. As do the Oilers here at the Winnipeg Arena, but they lead 3-1. Picked up by the Jets. Centering pass bounced away from Allen. He lets it go up high on Radford. A battle for the puck at the blue line. Allen and Simpson trying to kick it free, and the whistle goes with 5:11 left in the second.
You'll be surprised who's driving.
It's a crucial time in the game for the Edmonton Oilers. The Jets have everything going their way. The crowd's going. The Oilers have to weather the storm. Only 5 minutes left here in the second period. Try and win that third period with a lead.
Evans bangs it off the boards. Ruotsalainen picks it up. Puck slides into the Winnipeg zone. Bookberger in the corner, trying to keep it in. It's loose. Steen firing it out, looking for Elnick, too far for him. Smith chased back in his own zone. He leaves it there for Ruotsalainen. Ruotsalainen to Bookberger. He has Klima with him, along with McTavish. McTavish trying to go for the net. Had difficulty controlling that pass, and Bob Essensa dives out on top of it.
Bob Essensa in the first period, you see, he's getting the snow shower from Kelly Bookberger. At least Bookberger didn't fall on top of him.
The native of Langenburg, Saskatchewan, has played well for the Oilers after missing Game 1 of the series. He has been a physical presence as well as having some scoring opportunities.
He's tried a couple of cute plays in this game, and I'm sure John Muckler would rather have him just shoot the puck. Here he throws it to Craig McTavish and watch the rolling puck again. McTavish is tied up. And Essensa, who has been really solid here in the second period, makes no mistake, hangs on and gets a whistle.
4:29, the time left in the period. As the Oilers dominated period 1, the Winnipeg Jets have controlled this second period. However, they've only managed to score 1 goal. Cronin for Kumpel. He's the man who has scored the lone Winnipeg goal. Lamb with a long shot. Essensa sends the rebound out to Mantha. Ahead for Howardchuk. Howardchuk for Kumpel. He deflects it past Kevin Lowe. Tries to go after it, tied up by Craig Muni. Bill Sykes battling in the corner. Kumpel and Muni are there as well. And finally they hold it for another face-off. 3:49 is the time left in period 2.
To prove how long rain dance car wax lasts.
Bob Essenza was the busier goaltender in the first period, making 12 saves to just 2 for Ranford. But Ranford has been tested 13 times in this second period.
You notice the line that Bob Murdoch has out there now. He wants to keep the pressure on. He's got all his scorers on one line.
Howarchuk and Elnuck flank Thomas Steen. Howarchuk, in some games during the regular season, was moved to a wing position alongside Steen. And in a big win late in the year against the Los Angeles Kings here at the arena, Howarchuk tied a club record with 5 assists playing with Thomas Steen. Steen knocks Kevin Lowe down in the corner. Lamb unable to get it out. Olofsson, a long shot, the save by Ranford. Another face-off upcoming in the Edmonton zone. With a Stanley Cup update, let's join Scott Oates.
Down in Minnesota, the Hawks started Ed Belfour in the second period, but the North Stars are hot, and Larry Murphy will move in from his position on the point to drive it past Belfour just under 2 minutes into the period. North Stars now leading 4-1 as they bid to stave off elimination.
Well, Mike Keenan continues his practice of giving the hook to the goaltender. Greg Millen is gone. Ed Belfour is in there.
Are you considered a backup goaltender when you get more ice time than the number 1 guy?
Who does he come back with, though, to start Game 7?
Greg Millen. He's your money goaltender, supposedly.
Messier against Fenton. Draw comes back to Olofsson. In the corner, McDermott tried to center it. Knocked down the ice, and back after it goes Olofsson. Too far from McDermott. .316 remaining in the period. Randy Gregg off the boards, down the ice, too far for Glenn Anderson. Olofsson wins the race for the puck for an icing call against Edmonton with 3:04 left in the period. You know, the series has been extremely close throughout, an indication. 4 of the games were tied after 2 periods. The shots on goal in almost every game equal, and the penalties in almost every game equal.
Face-offs are very close too. I was asking the coaches because this is one area that I thought the Edmonton Oilers would have the edge with Mark Messier taking the draws, but the Winnipeg Jets have been very good. Their centermen have played well. And you can see in the offensive zone, Thomas Steen set up the winner the other night by winning a draw cleanly back to Dave Ellett in Game 4. And the Jets and the Oilers are almost even in that department of the game.
And the Oilers trying to get back on even terms as far as the series goes. And force the 7th game at Northlands Coliseum on Monday night. Humanen in from the point, centering it out front, but it was kicked back to the goal again and picked up by Charlie Huddy. Buchberger dumps it down the ice, racing back after it is Gord Donnelly. Messier watching him. Donnelly moves it ahead to McIlwain. He has Smale racing in after it. Ranford leaves it at the side of the net for Huddy. He moves it to Simpson. His pass for Messier bounced away from him. Greg Kozlowski had to race back after it to pick it up. Donnelly is checked in the center ice area. And he just to get it back. Flipping it into the Edmonton zone. Steve Smith is there with 2:23 left in the period. Anderson shoots it in. Simpson racing after it. His college roommate Essenza gets there first. Kozlowski to Smale for McIlwain. McIlwain having trouble controlling the puck at the line. And Simpson moves it ahead to Buchberger. Buchberger gets around Donnelly. Buchberger controlling it. Looking back to the point. Gives it to Craig Muni. Having trouble accepting that return pass. Klima took a swipe at it. It bounces high. McTavish with a shot. And Essenza grabs it with Buchberger standing right in front of him.
Again, Bob Essenza makes the save on a shot he didn't see through Kelly Buchberger, but McTavish couldn't get much on it. Essenza came up with a save. Good pressure by this line, and that's the one Edmonton Oiler line that in every game in the series has been able to maintain support checking and put a little pressure on the Winnipeg Jet defense. A Kelly Bookberger goes right in front of Essensa, but look at the shot. McTavish has his hands very close together. Can't get much on it. Essensa goes down, as he usually does, and makes the save.
1:49, the time left in the second period. 3-1. The Edmonton Oilers leading. All 3 Edmonton goals in the opening period. The only goal of this second period scored by Mark Kumpel. Lamb against Howardchuk. Lamb gets the draw. Back to Craig Muni. In for Lamb. Lamb is checked by Howardchuk. He moved it ahead, but not out. Puck bounces in the Winnipeg zone. Kumpel tied up his man, and the zone is clear. Curry with a long flip shot that Essensa steers to the corner. Mantha moves it along the boards, picked up by Tikkanen to the point to Muni. In back of the net for Curry. Curry tried to slide it back to the line. It was deflected out by Howardchuk. Cronin's pass for Sykes. Sykes upended by Tikkanen. Puck comes into the Edmonton zone. Lamb fires it out. The Oilers would be quite content to go to the dressing room with a 2-goal lead after 40 minutes.
And the crowd that was so involved just seconds ago now, because of the tight checking of the Edmonton Oilers, is really quiet.
Fired down the ice by Edmonton, and the Jets will get a face-off in the Edmonton zone on this icing call with 42 seconds left in the period.
The Jets have fired 15 shots this period, 16 shots at Bill Ranford, and Ranford has been rock steady in that Edmonton Oiler net.
Well, he was criticized in Game 1 in that 7-5 loss. The Oilers felt that they had played a very solid hockey game, but there was some shaky goaltending on the part of Ranford. But his play has steadily improved, and he was particularly sharp in Game 5.
Confidence is such a big factor, and Ranford had a role in December. He was Player of the Month where you couldn't put a P past him. And you can see his confidence every game. He's getting stronger and stronger, looks more comfortable, looks a little cocky, and that's when he plays his best, when he's flipping that puck up on his catching glove and playing like an all-star.
Fenton against McTavish. Steen and Elnick are out there with him. Messier for the Oilers with Gregg and Huddy back in the blue line. Fenton and McTavish tie each other up, and Huddy picks up the puck. High off the glass. Comes back. He gives it to Fenton. Fenton moving in, a shot. The rebound, and Elnick took a swipe at it, but it didn't get through. 18 seconds left in the period. Off the glass, but not out. Now Messier makes sure he gets it out of the zone. This will be another icing call, and it will come with just 4 seconds left in the period.
Mark Messier out there for the face-offs, the defensive face-offs in his own zone along with Craig McTavish. And this is something he's been doing throughout the series. During the regular season, once the draw is won, he goes right to the bench and changes.
And he'll be talking with Scott Oake during our second intermission. A man who many are suggesting has been the most valuable player in the National Hockey League this year. Someone who knows something about that Hart Trophy, Wayne Gretzky, has suggested that if he had a vote, it would go to his former teammate and close friend.
He is really... Brad Fuhrer out. Mark Messier has been their leader game in and game out.
Benton against McTavish again. Just one man back. That is Dave Ellett. Benton repositioning Paul McDermott. He'll try and get the draw back to Dave Ellett, and Ellett will have to let a quick shot go. Bookberger will race out for Ellett. That's why they've got McDermott in there to try and tie him up. The puck goes into the corner as McTavish got the draw, and that will end the period. So Bill Ranford with a strong second period. He allowed just one goal, and that by Mark Kumpel at 11:35, with Donnelly and Howarchuk drawing the assists as the Jets outshot the Oilers in period 2, 16-9. Coming up next in our second intermission, Mark Messier. The score at the end of the second period, Edmonton 3, Winnipeg 1.
But the Oilers have a 2-goal lead after 2 periods of play. It's Edmonton 3, the Jets 1. Attack and help silence the crowd here at the Winnipeg Arena, in addition to giving the Oilers a 2-0 lead. It's been the kind of series where journeymen have shared the spotlight with the stars. One of the journeymen, Paul McDermott of the Jets, joined us in the first period. One of the stars, Mark Messier, joins us now. And Mark, your goal in Game 5 was to avoid elimination. You certainly achieved that, but in addition, you seem to get a lot of things in your game working that have carried over into tonight's Game 6.
Well, we knew our line had to produce and to score some goals to get ourselves on track, and the Jets were doing a good job early. We changed some things around and changed a bit of our line combinations and some of our tactics, and it seemed to work a bit for us.
I mentioned the goal certainly silenced the crowd here at the Winnipeg Arena. What's it like to play in a crowd like this that's so fired up?
Well, I think we've been through it enough. There's been enough guys in our dressing room that have been through a lot more than this. You know, we played a lot of games at Chicago Stadium that's much louder than this, and I don't really think this crowd has much effect on us at all.
So you're not willing to concede this is the loudest crowd ever, as some Winnipeggers would like to think?
I don't think so.
React to the suggestion, if you would, that in the first few games of this series you tried to do too much and spread yourself too thin. I know you've heard that.
Well, I think that's probably a normal tendency. We got behind the 8 ball, and I think that you know, we had to step up and take charge, and maybe I was trying to do a little bit too much, but over the last 2 or 3 games, we've also got a lot better effort out of a whole team, which has made a big difference.
You had the Kings 3-1 last year. The Jets had you 3-1 this year, so you know that this deficit can be overcome.
Well, we have to overcome it. I don't think there's any question in our minds that we have to do it, and we've played well for 2 periods, and we've got a big 3rd period coming up.
Thank you, Mark. And after 2 periods, Mark Messier's team is holding on to a 2-goal lead here at the Winnipeg Arena. Our second intermission will continue in just a moment. Concluded the proceedings in Game 6 of their Smythe semifinal. We'll go live to the Great Western Forum in Los Angeles for the second half of our Stanley Cup playoff doubleheader, the Kings and Flames in Game 6 of their series. Tomorrow, our telecast will be Game 6 of the Sabres-Canadiens Adams Division semifinal series on the full network. And on Monday evening, we will have Game 7 of this series between the Jets and the Oilers, if necessary. Here at the Winnipeg Arena, the Jets were much improved in the second period, but the Oilers are in control as they are 20 minutes away from forcing a 7th game in this series, holding a 2-goal lead right now. Let's go to Ron McLean.
Okay, Scott, Terry Gregson, the standby referee at this evening's game and the president of the NHL Referees Association. You thought this would be easy. It's like refereeing. Yeah. Big crowd around you. You worked last night, Terry, the Boston-Hartford game. Where do you go from here?
Well, right now it's just on a game-by-game basis. I got called to come here to stand by this evening. Then after the game, we go back to the hotel, and we'll get a call from Brian Lewis as to what our next assignment's going to be.
2 questions for you. Instant replay. How do you feel about it?
Well, basically that decision is in the hands of the governors and so on, but we as officials in the National Hockey League would like to probably support whether it crosses the line or not, but we'd like to limit it to that. I think that anything that helps you determining whether a goal was crossed the line or not is going to be helpful.
Would you want it to be your call or a coach's?
Well, I think there's a lot of fine-tuning would have to be done, but I think probably our call, because we would have a gut reaction whether we're not too sure or not anyway.
The other thing that has come up in this Stanley Cup playoffs, and it was in the papers in Winnipeg today, is about action around the goaltenders. How do you feel about that?
Well, it has been a topic of discussion this year. We can't really change our standard now that we've entered into the playoff season because the players have come sort of used to the standard that we have been following.
Which is?
Well, basically, there is a lot of crowding. We're trying to, as Don Koharski made an excellent call tonight on Mark Messier, coming through the crease and making contact with the goaltender. And from that, a goal was scored. So I think it's going to be a topic of discussion because I think it is a problem area that we are dealing with right now.
Nice job, Terry. In fact, here we're going to show a highlight of that specific incident.
As you could see, Mark was cutting from the other side, and of course they're going to say I was just passing through, but there was contact with the goaltender that threw Mr. Ascenza off balance, and the puck was in the net. And Don made a very quick and crucial call.
Our thanks to Terry Gregson. The score at the end of 2 periods of play, the Oilers lead the Jets 3-1. We'll return to the arena in just a moment.
Stars are a game away from elimination, but leading the Hawks 4-1 in the second period. Chicago coach Mike Keenan made a goaltending change after 1 period, which came as no surprise. Greg Millen gave up 3 in the first period, so Ed Belfour took his place, and he was promptly beaten by Larry Murphy, and so it's Minnesota 4, Chicago 1 in the second right now. The Kings and the Flames are about a half an hour away from starting Game 6 at the Great Western Forum in their Smythe semifinal. Flames facing elimination, so they must win, and a reminder, we will go there live following the completion of Game 6 here at the Winnipeg Arena between Edmonton and the Jets. And here at the Winnipeg Arena, the Oilers holding a 2-goal lead over the Jets. The Oilers are 1 period away from staying alive and forcing Game 7 on Monday night in Edmonton. Our coverage of the 1990 Stanley Cup playoffs will continue in just a moment.
The question is, are we headed for a 7th game in this Smythe Division semifinal in Edmonton on Monday night? Or can the Winnipeg Jets launch a 3rd period comeback? After being down 3-0 in the first, when they were outshot 12-2 by the Oilers, the Jets came to life in the second and were rewarded with a goal.
And although Bob Essens only had 9 shots in that second period, he made some big saves as the Winnipeg Jets had to take some chances. There was a few 2-on-1s. Charlie Huddy had a great scoring chance on a 3-on-2, and Essens made all the saves in the second period.
What do you suspect might have gone on in the 2 dressing rooms between periods?
I'm sure that John Buckler just said, come on, play like we did in the first period, that tight checking system, and the Winnipeg Jets, Bob Murdoch, would say, continue to shoot, get as many shots as you can, and we'll get some breaks.
Had the Oilers put away all the scoring opportunities they had in the first period, this game would have been over. As it is, the Jets still have life. Klima in front for McTavish. He was tied up by Teppo Numminen. Woodberger checked. Puck loose along the board. Elnick trying to move it out of there. Numminen will go to the other side. Donnelly racing against Peter Klima. Comes back to the point. Kevin Lowe fires it to the corner. Picked up by Elnick. He can't get out against Woodberger. Finally, Thomas Dean gains control. He goes rink wide for Gord Donnelly. Long shot. And it's kicked out by Bill Ranford. Evans and Klima had collided and tied each other up, and there's a penalty coming up with 19:10 remaining. Tonight's game is coming to you from Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets did not want to find themselves in early in the third.
Peter Klima crashed Doug Evans into the boards. Here, look at the hit. Klima on Evans. And then Evans retaliates, and that's the kind of penalty you just can't afford to take. You're down 2 goals. Especially at the start of the period, you want to get some momentum, you want to get the crowd back into the game. Now you have to kill off a penalty.
Bob Murdoch never shows much emotion, whether his team is ahead or trailing in a series. The Oilers with the power play in the third period, leading by 2 goals. Smith shoots it in. Anderson picked it up along the boards, kicked it back of the net. He gets a return pass, cross ice, and bounced away from Messier. Ellis battling in the corner, frees it for Mo Mantha. Ahead to Smale, crossing with McAway. Smale for Mantha. Mantha in front for McAway. Oh, he couldn't deflect it. That puck bounced up high on the stick and not towards the net. Mantha made an excellent play.
Mantha taking the chance, jumping up into the play short-handed. Threw it across the McElwain, and they just didn't get the lucky bounce.
Sykes forces Curry back in his own zone. 2 number 17s working against each other. 56 seconds remaining in the penalty to Doug Evans. Charlie Huddy for Randy Gregg. Too far for Curry. Picked up by Lamb. Over to Randy Gregg. He'll try and set it up again, looking for Curry, and he deflects it into the Winnipeg zone. Essens out of Sykes. He bangs it off the boards. A race for the puck. Kumpel will get there. Kumpel with the quick shot. Ranford stopped it. He wasn't sure where the puck had gone.
And Ranford got in perfect position, but it hit the inside of his arm, and he lost the rebound.
Tikkanen back to the point for Randy Gregg. He lets the shot go. Essenza grabs it. He had Lamb in front of him looking for a deflection. Boy, what a burst of speed from Mark Kumpel to race after that loose puck.
And he beat Tikkanen to the puck, and Tikkanen's no slouch in a foot race. Brantford has had 2 good scoring chances against him while his team's been on this power play.
Mark Kumpel getting to that puck and letting the shot go.
Kumpel's smart enough to pull it to his forehand, and you see it almost went through that little opening between Brantford's arm and his body. And here's earlier the pass from Mantha to McElwain, and McElwain's tied up by Rayo Ruotsalainen, and it hits the side of the net. Good play by Ruotsalainen. They had 2 defensemen on the point, and it paid off.
10 seconds remaining in the penalty, and this should end it as it's fired the length of the ice. McTavish. Long shot, high off the glass. Fenton off the boards, moving it to Ashton. Ashton leaves it there for Evans, for Fenton. It was behind him. Bookberger starts back for the Oilers. He has McTavish and Klima with him, trying to get away from Humanen. He's knocked down. Gord Donnelly ahead to Fenton. He flips it high down the ice. Kevin Lowe is back there. 16:34 remaining in the period. Bookberger, long shot on Essenza. Mantha starts back to Kozlowski. He dumps it into the Oilers' zone. Brantford leaves it back at his goal. Howardchuk trying to get it out front. He succeeds. He scores! Fails!
Good work by Dale Howardchuk. One hand on the stick, clears it out to Smale, and Smale has no problem. Messier tried to play the puck. Watch Steve Smith. He lets Howardchuk go, and then Howardchuk with one hand on the stick drives it out to Smale, and Messier gets caught in between. You can see Messier let Smale go. He was going to go in and help his defenseman out. Didn't take the man in front. Smale cashes in.
And you better believe this crowd is right back in this hockey game. So after some excellent penalty killing by Smale and McElwain, Smale with a solid effort gets the Winnipeg Jets within 1. Messier for Simpson on the wing for Anderson. Anderson is poke checked by Essenza. Back comes Winnipeg. Lead pass for Fenton, just too far. Back after it is Ruotsalainen, and this is an icing call against Winnipeg. 15:55 is the time left in period 3.
North Stars are doing all they can to stay alive in their series with Chicago. With less than 6 minutes to go in the second period, the Hawks trapped in their own zone as they've been for most of the period. Dave Gagne scores Minnesota's 5th goal. North Stars lead 5-1 now.
Glenn Anderson breaks in, kicks it up to his stick, but look at Anderson gets the stick out. Good poke check. And Dave Ellett, Mo Madza got back and made sure Anderson wasn't going to get a rebound.
The Winnipeg goal. Smale is first of the playoffs from Howardchuk at 3:44. Howardchuk to Ellett. Loose along the boards in the Winnipeg zone. Kozlowski bangs it out to center ice. And this crowd, after being very subdued with that 3-goal explosion by the Oilers in the opening period, came to life in the second with the Winnipeg goal, and now they're alive. Out front, and Ellett steered it away from Yari Curry just in the nick of time. Back comes Lamb. He's bumped by Ellett. Curry was knocked down, and Ellett starts away for Winnipeg to Howardchuk. Howardchuk makes the shot, lets it go off the leg to the corner, but it was offside. And with the noise of this crowd, it's very difficult at times to hear those whistles.
And that's what Dale Howardchuk Howard said he apologized to Charlie Huddy. The fans here hollering Bill Ranford's name out, trying to put the white whammy on Bill Ranford after that second goal. The goaltenders don't pay much attention to that. They're trying to concentrate on the game. I know in juniors, some junior rinks, there's the whammy. They're pointing at Bill Ranford, trying to put the hex on the Edmonton Oilers goaltender.
Sean Cronin, long shot wide of the net. Olsen keeps it in. Lets the shot go loose in front of the net. Cronin flips it at the side of the net. The Jets can't get a stick on it, and it's dumped down the ice. Olsen off the boards. Back comes Mark Kumpel. Kumpel checks at the line, still has it, then loses control, and Craig Muni picks it up for Edmonton. Muni drives it into the Winnipeg zone. Kumpel is back after him. Kumpel trying to get out against McTavish. Ahead for McIlwain. He was checked. The puck fired into Edmonton territory as the Jets make a complete change.
Jets are changing their lines very quickly, trying to keep that speed up, and that's what they're noted for.
Racing after it is Elnick. Evans is going for the net. Elnick moving in. Steen the rebound. He couldn't pick it up on his forehand. Graves gains control. He'll dump it the length of the ice. And this is an icing call against the Oilers.
Just caught the corner of the crease, and it's waved off, and the Oilers in a very sloppy line change. They thought it was going to be icing.
Elnick tries to work for the goal. It's loose in the zone. Steen around the boards for Evans. It comes all the way to Donnelly. There's the shot. Off the skate to the side of the net. In front, and it bounced away from Evans. The Jets in this third period have the Oilers running around a little in their own zone. Simpson working in. Gets it over to Messier. Messier took a shot. Simpson in front of the net was knocked down by Newman. Steen comes back for Elnick. Elnick dumps it in. The Jets make a change as Randy Gregg goes back after it. 13-10 remaining in the period. Dumped out. Blocked by Mantha. Long shot fired wide. Benton flips the rebound. It bounces off the leg. Messier poked it into the Winnipeg zone, but Ellett got that. Ellett ties up Messier. Mantha is checked. And the Jets come out led by Ashton. Ashton having problems getting away from Anderson. The puck fired back into the Winnipeg zone, and there's a penalty coming up as Ashton was dumped.
The Winnipeg Jets are trying to get a penalty, but I don't think any of the officials saw that infraction.
Ashton is bleeding from the cut on his nose with 12:40 remaining.
Stick right here, you can see he's trying to hit Ashton in the arm, but he hit him up in the face area, and that's why the Winnipeg Jets are complaining.
And at about the same instant as he was hit and went down, there was a whistle on the play, but it was not for that. It was for an offside call.
You see Bob Murdoch again showing no outward signs of emotion. I'm sure he's a little upset that that wasn't seen by any of the officials.
And one wonders what thoughts might be running through the mind of John Muckler in this third period. Does he shorten his bench and put out his best defensive players to try and protect his one-goal lead?
I think the fans are hurting their own cause here. They threw some peanuts on the ice, and the Winnipeg Jets have really been rolling here in the third period. I was wondering whether John Muckler would call a timeout. He got a free one right there as the fans threw some garbage on the ice.
Chuck will face off against Lamb. Puck bounces away from Craig Muni. Kevin Lowe shoots it in. Howard Chuck gets it out of the zone, but Lamb is back there to break it up. Esa Tikkanen. Off the boards for Lamb. It's kicked free. Picked up by Tikkanen to Curry. Going in alone. Saved by Essenza.
And there's another big save by Bob Essenza. Yari Curry in by himself. Lots of time. And Essenza outguessed him.
Hawerchuk. In across the line. He's checked by Muni. And it's dumped down the ice. Maslowski races back after it. And this will be an icing call against Edmonton with 11:47 remaining in the third. The Oilers protecting a one-goal lead.
There's the man of the moment for the Winnipeg Jets, Bob Essenza. Yari Curry, look at Curry, takes a look, tries to pick a spot, and Essenza gets down and makes the save with his left leg.
And the fans again getting on Bill Ranford. Cronin with a long shot. Loose in front of the net. Cronin racing in from the point to try and check Steve Smith. The Oilers can't get it out. Sykes is bodied by Smith. Sykes moving to his backhand. The shot saved by Ranford. Finally, the zone is cleared with 11:20 left. The Jets fire it right back in. McIlwain tied up Ruotsalainen, but McTavish picked up the loose puck. Fired out of the zone. And Craig McTavish is hurt. And now Ruotsalainen is having some words with McIlwain.
Craig McTavish struggling to stay on his feet. Handed to by Edmonton Oilers trainer. And McIlwain was the one who hit Craig McTavish into the boards. I'm sure John Buckler is telling his team every time you get a chance to clear the zone. This is all set up moments ago because the Oilers didn't clear the zone when they had the chance. And Sykes tries to slide it under the crowd. But Bill Ranford went down, laid the stick across the ice, and made the save.
Ranford has now faced 22 shots after being tested just twice in the opening period.
John Buckler's complaining, saying that Don Kowarski didn't have his hand up. He wanted to make some late line changes. And here's what caused the stoppage in play. Sykes takes a run at McTavish. And it just seemed to win McTavish. He went over to pick up his stick. Laid along the boards.
Randy Gray to Mark Messier. He was looking for Peter Klima, who was tied up. Brought back by Mo Mantha. He drives it in. It comes around the boards. Elnick kicks it to the corner. He's bodied by Randy Gray. Messier is hit by Doug Evans. The puck loose. Thomas Steen has it out front. They score! Doug Evans! Comes out to Doug Evans. And there's Evans all by himself. Messier was trying to freeze the puck along the board. He couldn't. Evans brings it out off the far post and in. Well, it's a good thing the roof of this building is firmly attached because they are raising the roof here at the arena. No
Edmonton Oilers here in the third period.
3-3 the score. 10:43 left in the third period. Donnelly spoke ahead for Thomas Steen, trying to get away from Graves. Steen, back of the net. Steen out front, and it bounced away from Pat Elnick, who was racing in. Here comes a pass to Lowe. He couldn't control it and get a shot away. Bangs it off the boards, but slipped down the ice for Thomas Steen. Working against Craig Muni. Steen into the slot area, knocked down by Muni, and the puck moved down the ice. Picked up by Tikkanen. Tikkanen unable to get around Mantha. Loose in the corner. Picked up by Teppo Numina. 10 minutes remaining in the third period. This will be an icing call against Winnipeg. A score tied at 3. A big comeback in the third by the Winnipeg Jets to tie it. Well, this charge of the White Brigade has paid dividends in the third. The Jets with 2 goals to tie it.
They maintained their composure after the first period. They really played a disciplined style in the last 2.
Long shot. Essenza kicks that to the back of the net. Doug Smale trying to get it up. Tikkanen, or Ruotsalainen, I should say, keeps it in. Finally, they clear the zone. And it's deflected over the boards and out of play.
And now Dale Howardchuk's back with his old line mates. Bob Murdoch has got Howardchuk out there with Smale and Kozlowski. Remember in the second period he was playing with Steen and Elnick for a while to create some offense. But it's been the support cast again here in the third period that's done it for the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, the Jets during the season have alternated the captain's role. Howardchuk, Thomas Steen, and Randy Carlyle wearing the C for 5 games each. With Carlyle injured and not participating in postseason activity, it has switched from game to game between Steen and Howardchuk. Tonight Steen is wearing it, but the 2 men who are expected to be the leaders for the Winnipeg Jets have responded. Howardchuk with 2 nice plays to set up the first and second goals, and Steen with a solid effort to set up the tying goal for Winnipeg.
And there was Doug Evans forechecking, and he was rewarded with that tying goal.
Mantha gives it to Ellett. Ellett for Howardchuk. Brought in offside as it went off Howardchuk's skate. Back to Ellett. Dave Ellett goes by the nickname of Roy. They call him Roy after the fictional character Roy Hobbs in the baseball movie The Natural. I don't think he bears any resemblance at all to Robert Redford.
Doesn't look at all like Robert Redford. See, he's done well offensively. He always creates some chances, passes the puck so well, and can really skate. Defensively, he has lapses, and I think it's more concentration than anything else. He just seems to go off into his own little world for shifts at a time. And then, if you want a goal, who are you going to have out there? You'll have Dave Ellett on the point.
Well, when the Edmonton Oilers reflect back in this hockey game, they may regret their inability to put away their scoring opportunities in the first period.
You look at that Bob Essenza save on Mark Lamb off the shaft of his stick. Would have made it 4-0. Looming pretty large now.
Klima is checked. Back comes Winnipeg. McElwain in with Kumpel. McElwain fakes the shot. Flips it to the corner. Sykes races in there after it. He bumps with Charlie Huddy, but Huddy managed to move the puck ahead. Adam Graves working into the Winnipeg zone. Gutberger was going for the net, but the puck never got there. Olesen had tied his man up. Now the puck goes loose to Teppo Numina. Up to Sykes. He flipped it out of the zone. Craig Muni for Edmonton. Drives it in. McDermott hammers it off the boards and out. With the score tied, both teams a little cautious now with 8-11. remaining in this third period. Away goes Ashton. He has Fenton with him. McDermott trying to catch up on the play. Ashton back to the net. Ashton trying to get it out front. Takes a shot. Trying to wrap it around, and Ranford kicked that one out. Kevin Lowe with a long blast. Off the boards, back to the goal. Gord Donnelly flips it ahead to McDermott. McDermott to Ashton. He knocks it out of the zone. Rail Ruotsalainen for Anderson. Drops it for Messier. Messier cross ice for Tikkanen. He was checked on a fine play by Gord Donnelly. Centering attempt comes back to the point. Ruotsalainen with a shot. Tikkanen banged it, hit the side of the net. Out front for Messier. He was tied up, and it's dumped out of the zone by the Jets.
And the Jets did a good job in front of their own net. They jammed the crease. The Oilers couldn't get that centering pass.
Mantha gives it to Steen. Back to Mantha. Mantha for Steen. In full flight with Doug Evans. Mantha going for the goal. Can't get a shot away as he is checked. Allen can't keep it in the zone. Lamb comes back against Mantha. He gives it to Curry. Curry scores! Great shot by Jari Curry. Up high on Bob Essensa. The Oilers have regained the lead.
Curry, who has been a factor in this series offensively for the Edmonton Oilers, comes through. And a good play by Mark Lamb. Watch this shot. Perfect shot by Jari Curry. High, stick side. Essensa didn't go down. He stayed on his feet as Mantha slid across. Mantha's got the low shot. Essensa has to take the high one. Perfect shot by Jari Curry.
And that's the 84th career goal for Jari Curry. Only Mike Bossy with 85 and Wayne Gretzky with 87 have scored more in postseason activity.
And the crowd, who was really rolling here in the third period, all of a sudden quiet.
Lamb and Tikkanen drawing the assists. Olofsson racing after the puck. Olofsson gets it back to the line. Sean Cronin unable to keep it in. 6:36 is the time left. The Oilers have regained the lead. Chuck, he gets it to Ruotsalainen. Cronin pinches in, keeping the puck in the Oilers zone. Messier dumps it out. Olofsson almost had some problems handling it. Gets it across to Cronin. Rink wide pass for Kozlowski. Smale's going for the net. The pass doesn't get through. Smale in the corner. To Cronin, his shot goes wide. Kozlowski centers it. Deflected wide by Smale. Powerchuk trying to pry it loose. And in the corner it winds up in the glove, I believe. In the skates of Steve Smith.
Here's another look at the goal. Now watch Dave Ellett. He stays up, pinched in unwisely, and it's a 2-on-1. You have to wonder, the score is 3-3, and Ellett pinched in at the Oiler blue line, gets trapped, 2-on-1, and Curry buries the chance.
5:53 is the time left.
You talk about a mental lapse, and that's what it is with Dave Ellett. He does it every now and then, just not thinking, didn't have his head in the game, and it cost his team.
McIlwain against Lamb in the face-off circle. Gord Donnelly, Teppo Numminen back on the blue line. Collins making sure everyone's in position. The puck goes back to the net to Charlie Huddy. At this time, we say hello to those viewers who have been watching action on Sports Channel America. Tikkanen with a long shot up high on Bob Essensa. 4-3, the Edmonton Oilers lead. 5:32, the time left in the third period. A centering attempt by Lamb. He's checked by Numminen. And the Jets start out. McElwain to Donnelly. He shovels it ahead to Mark Kumpel. Kumpel for Sykes. Sykes looking out front for McElwain. It bounced up on top of the net, and McElwain couldn't get a stick on it. Back after it is Mantha. The Oilers led 3-0 after one. Winnipeg with a goal in the second. 2 in the third to tie it before Yari Curry with a blistering shot put the Oilers ahead. That Curry goal coming at the 13:10 mark from Lamb and Tikkanen, and it loomed. 4:56 left in the third. If the Oilers hang on, Game 7, Monday night at Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. And we remind you that upon the conclusion of this one, we're going to Los Angeles. Long shot by Ellis. Mantha's shot is blocked. It bounces to Messier. He comes out with Buchberger. Buchberger going for the net. A drop pass to Muni. His shot fired wide. Ellis for Winnipeg. Around to Mo Mantha. Mantha to Doug Evans. Evans drops it for Ellis. There's the shot right on. Ranford to save. Kevin Lowe takes it to the corner. Ahead to Buchberger. Buchberger in across the line with Klima, but Klima was ahead of the play offside. 4:17 left in the third.
And Kelly Buchberger is so good defensively that Coach John Muckler, he shortened his bench after the halfway mark of this game. But Buchberger is still getting a regular shift with Klima and McTavish just because he is so strong along the board.
Well, for viewers in Eastern Canada, this is your first opportunity to view this series, but those who have been following it say it has been every bit as entertaining as the much publicized Battle of Alberta games between the Flames and the Oilers.
And every game has been like this nail-biting time after about the 5-minute mark of the third period. They've been so evenly contested matches, and both teams, it'll be sad that one of these two teams has to be eliminated in the first round.
One game going to overtime, the other to double overtime. Only one game has been decided by more than one goal, and that was the series opener when Newman in the dying seconds scored into an empty net.
The home ice advantage has meant very little when you consider how close the games have been in both buildings.
The Oilers lost home ice advantage when Winnipeg won Game 1, 7-5.
Paul Fenton jumped by Glenn Anderson, so Anderson just went and stood on the Winnipeg side of the faceoff.
Simpson, checked by Olesen. Cronin has Anderson tied up. He's trying to kick that puck free, and then Ashton helps out. And he starts away for Winnipeg. Moving it to McDermott. He tried to give it back to Anderson, or to Ashton, and it was almost picked up by Anderson. Cronin. Checked by Graves. Graves out front for Simpson. He can't get a shot away. Steve Smith has it. The Oilers tightening their checking now with the one-goal lead in this third period. They're not letting the Jets get anything organized. Here comes Newman. He's knocked down by Lamb. And Lamb rifles it around the boards, kept in by Donnelly. And then Smale is checked. And finally the Oilers dump it out with 3:12 left. Fired right back in by Kozlowski. Tikkanen along the boards. Tied up. Smale gets it to Howard-Chuck. Howard-Chuck checked by Huddy. Smale comes in to help out. He's bumped. The puck is loose, and Lamb will fire it down the ice. Back after it goes Newman. This is an icing call against Edmonton with 2:48 remaining. With a Stanley Cup update, here's Scott.
At the Great Western Forum, the Los Angeles Kings lead at 1-0 in period number 1. Back to the Winnipeg Arena for more third period action.
And looking for the big effort. even though they are down in the series, a lot of people in Calgary figured they finally had their game turned around after that 5-1 win. Sure, they'll be squeezing their sticks a little harder, trailing 1-0 early.
2:48, the time left here at the Winnipeg Arena. And again, we remind you, a Hockey Night in Canada doubleheader. Calgary and Los Angeles immediately following the conclusion of Winnipeg-Edmonton here at the Winnipeg Arena. And what an entertaining night it has been. We certainly hope you've enjoyed the action across the CBC network, and will be staying with us for the second half of this doubleheader. Olofsson with a long shot wide. Craig Muni bangs it off the boards down the ice with Olofsson going back after it. He moves it ahead to Thomas Steen. Steen over to McIlwain. McIlwain having trouble controlling it. Allen unable to keep it in. Now Craig Muni brings it out to Buchberger. Buchberger is stopped. Picked up by Allen. Allen, rink-wide pass. Broken up at the line by Graves. Klima pokes it away from Thomas Steen. He was upset by Steen, but no whistle on the play. Olofsson dodges a check from Buchberger. Played around the boards to McIlwain. Rink wide for Steen. He couldn't pick it up with a skate. It's loose. Elnick moves it back to Mantha. 1:52, the time remaining. Thomas Steen checked along the boards. Allen picks up the puck. Allen flips it to the line. Knocked right back out. The Jets try again with Mo Mantha firing it in. McDermott checked in the corner by Klima. The puck is loose. Graves tries to flip it out. He's checked by Fenton. Randy Gregg with 1:29 left will try and come out the other way. Knocked down by Newman, but then Anderson bangs it off the boards and out.
And there's Glenn Anderson. He had the chance to clear the zone, and he did, and the Oilers haven't done that with regularity here in this game.
Kevin Lowe to Messier, ahead to Anderson, going in alone. Essenza with the save. The puck bounces out in front. Messier picks it up. 1 minute remaining in the hockey game. Essenza is starting for the Winnipeg bench. Kevin Lowe gives it to Messier. Messier should be able to come out cleanly. He fires it ahead for Simpson. He can't do anything with it. He's spun around as it comes in across the Winnipeg line. The Winnipeg net is empty. The extra attacker out there. An errant pass in that neutral zone, picked up by Doug Smale, moved ahead to Howardchuk. He drives it in. The Jets looking for a face-off in the Edmonton zone. Olofsson manages to keep it in. Kevin Lowe moves it back to the goal to Muni. Off the boards for Messier. Messier is checked by Steen. Just 16 seconds remaining. Olofsson is checked. Plays it up to Steen. If he touched it, it would have been an offside call. Here's a loose puck with Curry racing after it. Knocked away from him, but this game is going to end with a 4-3 Edmonton victory. And the 7th game will be played in Edmonton on Monday night.
The Oilers come out to congratulate goaltender Bill Radford. He had a solid game, and Bob Essensa.
Yari Curry's third period goal wins it for Edmonton. They beat Winnipeg 4-3. There will be a Game 7 Monday night in Edmonton. Back with more NHL action after this.
At the end of the first period, there was a skirmish in which Marty McSorley and Gary Roberts were both given slashing minors. It doesn't affect manpower on the ice.
There is Lanny McDonald watching. We mentioned that he really gave this Calgary Flames team a good pregame talk before Game 5, and they went out there and played their most inspired game of this series so far. He took the team out to
18-12 to go in the second period. Uneventful action so far. Game tied at 1. Yeah, I can, John. It's fainter than when you have the key open in the left ear, but I can still make it out. was just a crackle in my right ear about 30 seconds before Bill was done with his interview, and that's when I started to hear you.
Well, the LA Kings are leading this series because of a couple of things. One is patience, one is discipline. And there's a guy that really tests your discipline, Theo Fleury. Everybody wants to swat him. I mean, he is such a pest out there. He's a real valuable... Oh, yeah, Bobby Lalonde played in Atlanta with us, and he was 5'5". Well, there's a guy the Kings wish they had right now. That's Tom Laidlaw. I know you expected him back. I expected him back in this series. He is suffering from a back problem, lower back problem, and just hasn't been able to make it back into the lineup. But the way the Kings are trying to play, very disciplined, very tight, very defensive, a guy like Tom Laidlaw is a valuable guy.
Sure, Tom would have updated now and corrected to a 5-3 final, and so that will be a 7th game series 2. Here it's 17:05 to go in the second. Our game tied at 1. Yeah, I can hear you now. No, I think you may have it if you were talking to me. Okay. Oh, I wasn't able to see it. Yeah, I wasn't able to see it. Did you? Okay. I didn't see it.
Well, now Terry Crisp has the lineup that he wants out there against Wayne Gretzky's group, and Tom Webster hasn't done anything to try and shake Nieuwendyk. So it'll be Nieuwendyk and Roberts out there, Fleury on the one side against the...
Again. And something about to happen near the benches as Roberts was about to head in the direction of Halkitis.
I think he got close enough to him to have Morel call one. It looked like Morel was motioning a couple of times to the penalty box. Yeah, he's going to take one of each.
We'll pick up the penalty calls and be right back. Let's pause for a regional break. Sports Channel America's coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs will continue after these messages.
Calgary penalty to number 10, Gary Roberts. Los Angeles penalty to number 22, Bob Halkitis. 2 minutes each for roughing. Time of the penalty is 5:41.
You're just blaring in my ear, John.
Mine too.
Penalty to number 22, Bob Halkitis. 2 minutes each for
yeah.
roughing. Time of the penalty is 5:41.
No, I know it. I wouldn't blame you.
Couple of roughing penalties, one to Roberts, one to Halkitis. Doesn't affect the manpower.
Perry White used to be the guy on Superman, didn't he? Yeah, of the Daily Planet. He's probably here too.
TW. The Pawtucket Waterworks are here.
Power play to 7. A penalty coming up to the Kings. And so the Calgary power play will still get another chance. Down behind the net was Rudy.
You know what? I think Morel has evened it up. I think he's going to give one to Tim Hunter for upending Kelly Rudy. No question Ellick was getting one for collaring Priakin. But I think Dennis Morel may have evened it up.
Let's pause for a regional break. Sports Channel America's coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs will continue after these messages.
Yeah, I'm watching from up here. I can see.
I am now hearing the penalties being called out by someone down below in my right ear.
Penalty 7:06. The Kings penalty, number 6, Todd Ellick. 2 minutes for holding. Time of the penalty 7:06.
Dennis Morel did not even it up. He has given a penalty to Todd Ellick, number 6. There's his tug on Priakin's jersey. And he didn't call this one. See Hunter take out Rudy right there? He pointed at Hunter and then motioned to the penalty box. That's why I thought he'd signaled him, but not so. Todd Ellick's the only guy off. So you're right, Mike. Power play for the Flames.
Nieuwendyk on the face for the Kings. We'll return to the Forum in Inglewood in just a moment.